Central Square itself, the fighting is ongoing, and the Taliban has shown time and again that once they get into these cities, it isn't easy to expel them. The Pentagon says U.S. troops are ready to assist in the fighting over the city, saying that a number of U.S. enablers are already in the area to provide whatever support the government seeks. The last Taliban raid in late 2015 saw them holding Kunduz for months. Kunduz is one of 3 provincial capitals in Afghanistan that are facing imminent attacks by the Taliban, with their forces also having advanced over the past few days towards the outskirts of the city of Lashkar-Gah and Tarin-Kot. When her plush and comfy life suddenly and unexpectedly fell apart, Brooke and her dog Cloud set out to defy the odds. If this is a man's world, as they say, living on the streets is no place for a young woman. One day she awoke in the redwood forest and realized she had become a hobo, and would ultimately come to know exactly what it means to survive. How to Be a Hobo by Brooke Willett is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. UPI reports Ohio will resume executions next year with a new 3-drug combination for lethal injections following a 3-year hiatus caused by difficulties in obtaining the drugs used previously. Dan Tierney, a spokesman for the Ohio Attorney General's office, said Assistant State Attorney General Thomas Madden told a federal judge that the state will file details of protocol change related to executions this week, according to USA Today. In October 2015, Ohio said it would postpone scheduled executions until at least 2017 due to the dwindling availability of the drugs used for lethal injection. The problem worsened after many compounding pharmacies, which had previously supplied the drugs, refused to sell them to prison officials on legal and ethical grounds. The European Union voted in 2011 to ban the sale of pentobarbital to the United States over its use in executions. The next death row inmate scheduled for execution is Ronald R. Phillips, who was convicted of raping and beating a 3-year-old girl to death in 1993. Phillips was originally set to die on January 12th, but his scheduled execution date was pushed back to January 12, 2017. Ohio's last execution was January 2014 when Dennis McGuire was put to death. Witnesses to his execution said it took up to 25 minutes for McGuire to die and that the inmate appeared to gasp for air during the process. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports a federal judge in Nevada said professional race car driver Scott Tucker and several of his companies owe $1.27 billion to the Federal Trade Commission after systematically deceiving payday lending customers about the cost of their loans. In a decision late on Friday, Chief Judge Gloria Navarro of the federal court in Las Vegas, Nevada, said Tucker was specifically aware that the customers often did not understand the terms of their loans and was at least recklessly indifferent towards how those loans were marketed. Navarro wrote, Scott Tucker did not participate in an isolated discrete incident of deceptive lending, but engaged in sustained and continuous conduct that perpetuated the deceptive lending since at least 2008. The judge also barred Tucker from engaging in consumer lending. Lawyers for Tucker did not immediately respond on Monday to a request for comment. Tucker had argued that there was no fraud or intent to deceive, and that his loans met industry standards. The FTC on Monday asked Navarro to direct the turnover of some previously frozen assets to help satisfy the judgment. Tucker, who races in the United States and Europe, faces separate criminal charges in Manhattan, where prosecutors accused him of running a $2 billion payday lending scheme that exploited 4.5 million customers. A trial in that case is scheduled for April 17th. Tucker pled not guilty in February of this year. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Caitlin Taggart was a beautiful, lively girl who loved laughing and playing outside, but all that changed at the age of 12. Caitlin slipped into a persistent vegetative state, confining her almost entirely to her bed and Facebook.
She doesn't even have basic motor functions anymore. We literally have to drag her to the car to drive her to school in the morning.
She's totally unresponsive when we talk to her. Her eyes just roll back in her head.
Caitlin, honey, it's your dad.
With no hope that their daughter would ever recover, the Taggarts decided to seek legal permission to end Caitlin's life.
It is the most difficult decision we've ever had to make, but We just keep reminding ourselves that the real Caitlin is already gone. That's just her body texting.
We give her one painless injection, and that's it. Her eyes may flutter a bit, or she may murmur, "Are you for real killing me right now?"
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, and as always, you can take control of the airwaves. 855-450-FREE is our toll-free number. That's 855-450-3733. We also have Skype. You can Skype in here and bring up anything that you want. Skype username LRN.FM. Joining you in the studio tonight, you've got me, Ian.
Cody.
And Johnson.
Coming up, Johnson, you're going to talk about consciousness, something that I don't think people know a whole lot about, but there's some science, maybe?
I know you guys like to talk about it. So
yeah, I know. We would
found a science article. Science, probably in a loose term, but it is from a science.
All right, we'll get into that here in moments. But Gene, the Christian anarchist, is going to start things out. He's calling from Georgia, or at least I presume it's Gene. Normally, he's the only one who calls us the Christian anarchist. Hello?
Yeah, let me pull over here. I'm on the phone. I'm driving, and now I'm pulled over.
Okay.
So I'm currently driving down to Florida to participate in my favorite hobby, which is flying. I learned to fly in '77, and I'm currently trying to learn how to fly a helicopter because I bought one.
You bought a helicopter?
Good way to prepare for the zombie apocalypse, right?
Yep, those zombies, they come after me, and I'm out of here.
So you have to go to Florida, because normally you call us from Tennessee, so you have to go down to Florida because that's where the helicopter is, or why go down to Florida?
Yes, correct. It's down there, and that's where my instructor is, and so I have to drive down there.
Make a good TV show, Gene, trying to make it from... Where do you normally live at?
Tennessee.
Memphis area.
Driving from Memphis down to Florida to get to the helicopter in order to fly away from the zombies. That would be...
Yeah. Well, and I'm driving the Ron Paul Corvette, by the way.
Oh, you still have that thing. Okay, cool.
Yes, I still have it.
Yeah,
but
for listeners that don't know,
Gene,
in 2012, I think it was, had a nice professional rap job done on his Corvette, promoting Ron Paul for president.
That movie in my head just became a lot more like Zombieland than The Walking Dead. So.
And it looked fantastic. You showed us a picture of it. So, Gene, I mean, how many hours have you logged so far in the helicopter, or is this going to be your first run?
About 30 hours. But here's how I'm going to tie all this into my subject tonight, which is Goonerment. Not government, Goonerment, spelled Goonerment, Goonerment.
All right.
And everybody involved in the government, in my terminology, is a goon. And what they do to people when they try to impose their will on them, I've also invented a verb called gooning. So the government, the goons goon you, and their existence is called Goonerment. Okay.
All right.
And as an anarchist, I advocate no Goonerment. Just get rid of all Goonerment. And I'm going to use aviation as my example.
So what do you fly away from the goons?
No.
We'll get into it.
But okay, so forget the term goons. But
Sorry.
If you hear me referring to Goonerment, that's what I mean. Is the government. So, aviation, if I were a statist, and I want to get rid of all government, but if I were a statist, my best argument in support of government or Goonerment would be the safety in the sky. Because
right, if it weren't for the government or Goonerment or whatever, then people would be falling out of the sky because they wouldn't be trained appropriately, and that's why we need the Federal Aviation Authority or Administration to tell everyone what to do.
Absolutely. And that would be the best argument I could think of to support Goonerment. However, and I got my piece of plastic from the federal government that says I'm a licensed pilot. I learned to fly in '77. But here's my proposal. If there was no Goonerment, if they did not regulate the skies, yes, they do a pretty good job of regulating the skies. I think better than anything else the government does. But without any regulation, let's say we had 100 years since Wright brothers and nobody was regulating the skies. Right now, we would probably have personal flying transportation that you could go from door to door, and everything would be automated by now. You know, with today's technology, it would all be automated. It would all be simple. It would all work really, really well, because people would have tried things and failed. You know, sure, there would have been some deaths along the way. But aviation today, with all of the regulation involved in it, you still have deaths on a regular basis. They have not regulated away deaths, and they have not regulated away stupidity. So you still have stupidity, you still have deaths.
Yeah, and what you're saying isn't really speculation either, because didn't the Mueller Sky Car exist in the late 1970s?
Yes, it did, but it wasn't. It never really was designed very well.
Well, no, but that's an indicator that what you're saying, if there weren't a bunch of federal rules, because it was the federal government that got in the way of that, as I understood, because they can't market something like that widely because of the FAA. But if the FAA didn't exist, then the Sky Car, which for those that don't know is like kind of the first big personal craft that had been created, and you know, it would probably cost you a few $100,000 to get one of these things today.
How high up does it go?
I don't recall those details, but high enough to, you know, be able to travel in the sky, basically.
And currently, with all of today's aviation regulations, the most unregulated segment of aviation is home built aircraft, and you will find that in the home-built aircraft, if you go to some place like Oshkosh, where they have the biggest aviation get-together every year, and I would highly recommend it if you don't have anything to do during that time of the summer, go to Oshkosh and look at all of the stuff that people who have very minimal regulation on them are able to develop in aviation. The best avionics, the best panels, the best instrumentation for aircraft, it's all in the home-built aircraft.
Right, and if the government were to be believed, then that would actually be the riskiest area, because they are not as overseen as the commercial aircraft industry. And so you're pointing out that the opposite is true, that it's actually some of the best equipment out there. And further, if there were no government regulations in the space of aviation, then things like the Mueller Sky Car would have been able to be built, put into production, have competition, get better and better over the years, like we've seen with other technologies.
Yes, absolutely. And here's one of the things that really irks me is because now I'm trying to get a helicopter. I'm trying to learn how to fly a helicopter. So I have to go in and take a flying examination with an examiner, and he's going to be testing me on all of these rules and regulations that now I have to brush up on so that I can pass their test. And that really bothers me, because I hate all the rules and regulations. You know, that's just me.
Yeah, what do the rules and regulations have to do with actually flying safely?
Mainly, they will argue that the rules and regulations are there to keep aircraft separate so that they don't crash into each other. That's what the bottom line argument would be. And to some extent, that is true. However, if we didn't have those regulations, in my helicopter by now, in the year 2016, I would have a device on the instrument panel that would show me every other aircraft within 20 miles of my location. It would be an active aircraft detection system that would detect every other flying aircraft around me, and I would not require a signal or a ping coming from that aircraft to know where it was. It would be like a big radar, active radar system that would detect all the
Gene, you know,
around.
I appreciate the vision that you have. It's just the FAA, of course, is pretty ensconced, right? They're likely not going to likely that no one is going to propose abolishing them, and so therefore they're going to be around at least until the U.S. federal government crashes and burns.
Absolutely, but it's a dream of mine.
Yeah, it's fun to hear dreams, because it is important to have dreamers out there. Thanks for the call tonight, Gene, and enjoy your flying.
Did you guys
like fun.
know that you guys ever launch like rockets?
Yeah, back when I was a kid,
back in school.
Yeah,
if you had, there were different levels. You know, like I think it was like 1 through 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
And whenever you got up to like the highest level, you would actually have to get permission from the FAA to be able to fire it off.
Just because it would go so high up that it would violate some kind of airspace.
Yeah, apparently.
In theory, you could hit an airplane or something like that.
I guess that's the theory.
Sucked into an engine.
That'd be bad, I guess. toll-free number
Well,
here.
they should make pigeons illegal if that's a worry.
855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Coming up, we're going to get into consciousness and maybe what it is. Johnson's got a story, and you can share your thoughts. 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
Today, how to incorporate your business in just 10 minutes so you won't lose everything if you get sued. Step 1, stop putting it off. If you're not incorporated and someone sues your business tomorrow, it's not just your business at risk. You can lose everything: your home, your car, even your life savings. Step 2, call the following number for a free 10-minute incorporation guide from Incorporate.com. 1-800-945-1063. They don't provide legal or financial advice. They just make incorporating quick and easy. So you can incorporate or form an LLC in just 10 minutes. That number again is 1-800-945-1063. Step 3, congratulate yourself. By taking just 10 minutes to incorporate your business or form an LLC, you protected your home, your car, and your life savings. And that is how you incorporate your business in just 10 minutes. But hurry while they're still giving away these 10-minute incorporation guides for free. Call 1-800-945-1063. That's 1-800-945-1063.
Attention small business owners. Want to save money on your employee health insurance plan? Learn the little-known solution that could save thousands of dollars on your health insurance benefits and save your employees money, too. Call Health Markets for a free consultation, and one of our 3,000 local agents will show you how to make healthcare reform work for you. We'll design customized solutions for your business that can lower healthcare costs for you and your employees. We'll work directly with you to determine your needs. We search thousands of health plans from over 180 health insurance companies nationwide. You'll also find out if tax credits could save you money. Best of all, the service is free of charge. See why Health Markets has enrolled Americans in more than 2 million insurance policies. You don't have to wait for open enrollment to lower your cost. Call now. Find out how much you and your employees could be saving.
Representatives are standing by to assist you. Call 800-930-5137. That's 800-930-5137. 800-930-5137.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live shows 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything you want. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Skype username is lrn.fm. And also, healthcare is all messed up in the United States. We need a healthcare system that focuses on health, not sickness. And sure, health insurance pays for treating sickness, but it gives you nothing for being healthy. And doesn't that incentivize illness instead of health? Well, there's a free market healthcare company that can give you freedom from health insurance. It's healthexcellenceselect.com. They give you a proactive health assessment daily and no-charge 24-hour access to doctors. HIPAA has messed up medical records so much that one doctor doesn't know what the others are doing. How about a medical information card to give to EMS, first responders, the emergency room, or whatever medical professional you want? Check them out right now at healthexcellenceselect.com. Any kind of doctor, traditional, integrative, chiropractic, acupuncture, and massage. You'll love the service and price. healthexcellenceselect.com. As we go into a bit of a different area tonight, Johnson, you've had this story actually for like at least a week, if not 2 weeks.
Sure, but we've got to mention what we did on the break. We just have to. I mean, after doing an entire,
whole
hour
segment
on last week.
I think we did a segment on the black currants. I don't think.
No, we did. We did a while. It was a little bit. It was definitely more than a segment, but we talked about this illegal or formerly illegal berry, the black currant, and they were talking all about the flavor and how the farms are trying to bring it back in the United States because it's been illegal because it carries some fungus that.
Or it did.
It used to, that can hurt trees. I guess they probably cured it by now or whatever, so that it doesn't harm the trees anymore. Whereas this was.
And then they made it legal.
Yeah, that was very popular in Europe and has remained popular in Europe, and it's just sort of becoming popular again in the United States.
And the article you had was about a New York company that was manufacturing it, but it turns out you found some locally here
that
in
I could
Cheshire
buy
County.
with Bitcoin.
Right. So like the best of both worlds.
Yeah, so I went and bought some black currant jam with Bitcoin just because I wanted to try this. And
we just did.
A cracker, got it with some crackers and some ricotta and give it some flavor, and it's good. I mean, it's really. I don't know how it's. It is kind of how they described it. It's kind of like has kind of a cranberry kind of bite to it, but
what did they say? It was a cross between cranberries and blueberries or something?
I think so. That's what they said. It seems kind of accurate.
So
I want to taste it again.
That's probably why I half liked it, because I'm not a cranberry guy.
I liked it, but it was. I also the first chip that I had or piece that I had was with the ricotta, so I have not actually tried it just kind of like straight or just on a cracker or whatever.
Well, there you go. You got some here with just the jam on the just a plain cracker, no ricotta. Ricotta doesn't lend too much flavor. I mean, ricotta is kind of a plain, pretty bland cheese. But
I guess I can see why someone would say there's a similarity to a cranberry, but
it's got a strong flavor. It's not the same. I feel like I've tasted something else similar to it, but I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, I'm not a food tasting expert, but I know what tastes good, and this tastes pretty good.
Yeah.
So, cool. Thanks for bringing it in.
Black, I feel like I've had it has kind of almost like a little bit of a wine kind of feel to it, which is interesting too.
A little bit.
I think the concentrate we had talked about, like there was a concentrate you could buy, and you diluted it 4 parts to 1 with water. I think it would make for an interesting drink as well.
So I definitely recommend, after we did that whole thing talking about this, help bring back the black currant if you feel like, it was formerly illegal.
The world needs more berries. Berries are wonderful things.
That's pretty much all you have to say to get libertarians to try it.
That's true.
It was formerly illegal, and now you can do it.
But did it taste better when it was illegal?
Actually, no. All you need to say to libertarians is that it's illegal right now. Go do it.
But it is legal. It's not illegal.
But now it's legal, so,
All right, so there you go. Black currants.
The luster may be gone for you.
Toll-free number allows you to join us, 855-450 free. Something else you've been wanting to talk about, Johnson, is the story that you brought in about consciousness. And we've sort of, I think, briefly talked about this in the past, just sort of generally that Cody and I think our position, and correct me if I'm wrong, Cody, would be that we don't really know much about consciousness.
Vibrational states, man.
There are theories out there about consciousness, but science doesn't really know much about it. So what do you got?
It's a link to another universe. It's like your oneness with the state of being.
It might be.
Read the article, you condescending ass.
This physicist says consciousness could be a new state of matter. Consciousness isn't something scientists like to talk about much. You can't see it, you can't touch it,
and you can't measure it because of those things.
And despite the best efforts of certain researchers, you can't quantify it.
Right.
And in science, if you can't measure something, you're going to have a tough time explaining it. But consciousness exists, and it's one of the most fundamental aspects of what makes us human. And, just like dark matter and dark energy have been used to fill some otherwise gaping holes in the standard model of physics, researchers have also proposed that it's possible to consider consciousness as a new state of matter. To be clear, this is just a hypothesis, and one to be taken with a huge grain of salt.
So, just to be clear, when you say a state of matter, do you mean like liquid, solid, gas, consciousness?
Apparently.
Okay, I want to hear more.
Yep. So, to be clear, this is just a hypothesis and one to be taken with a huge grain of salt because we're squarely in the realm of the hypothetical here.
For sure.
And there's plenty of room for holes to be poked, but it's part of a quietly bubbling movement within theoretical physics and neuroscience to try and attach certain basic principles to consciousness in order to make it more observable. The hypothesis was first put forward in 2014 by cosmologist and theoretical physicist Max Tegmark from MIT, who proposed that there's a state of matter, just like a solid, liquid, or gas, in which atoms are arranged to process information and give rise to subjectivity, and ultimately, consciousness. The name of the proposed state of matter? Perceptronium, of course.
Okay.
As Tegmark explains in his preprint paper, generations of physicists and chemists have studied what happens when you group together vast numbers of atoms, finding that their collective behavior depends on the pattern in which they are arranged. The key difference between a solid, a liquid, and a gas lies not in the types of atoms, but in their arrangement. In this paper, I conjecture that consciousness can be understood as yet another state of matter. Just as there are many types of liquids, there are many types of consciousness. However, this should not preclude us from identifying, quantifying, modeling, and ultimately understanding the characteristic properties that all liquid forms of matter, or conscious forms of matter, share. In other words, Tegmark isn't suggesting that there are physical clumps of perceptronium sitting somewhere in your brain and coursing through your veins to impart a sense of self-awareness. Rather, he proposes that consciousness can be interpreted as a mathematical pattern, the results of a particular set of mathematical conditions. Just as there are certain conditions under which various states of matter, such as steam, water, and ice, can arise, so too can various forms of consciousness, he argues. Figuring out what it takes to produce these various states of consciousness according to observable and measurable conditions could help us get a grip on what it actually is and what it means for a human, a monkey, a flea, or a supercomputer.
But is he saying there that that in order to have consciousness, atoms need to be arranged in a certain order, and that therefore that there's no actual volition or free will, that the order of the arrangement is what it is, and so there's no more like thing there that is actually doing the thinking, that it's just a state of existence?
I don't know.
I mean, that's almost, maybe I'm misinterpreting what's being...
But just because he's saying, like, okay, if he's saying this is a pattern that gives rise to consciousness, I don't know that he's necessarily implying that that necessarily takes away free will. But,
okay.
You know.
I mean, because you don't think of, like, gas and water as having consciousness, right? That's not what he's arguing.
Right, and those things change state with different temperatures.
I think
I have to wonder if you could freeze consciousness down to a solid, slow-moving state or something.
Well, we know
like
Mark's
that.
going to try that. And he's going to have his head cut off and frozen when he dies. So we'll continue, though. I'm sure there's a little more. 855-450 free, and you can share your thoughts on the science of consciousness on Free Talk Live.
Worried about lead, fluoride, and other contaminants in your drinking water? Get a ProPure with the Pro 1G 2.0 cleanable reusable filter and remove up to 200 contaminants. Drink water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure products, including the new ProMax shower filter. There's a ProPure for you. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
How confident are you in your food storage? If it was all you had to rely on, would it sustain your family? Hard times, good times, or any time, Numana storable food is the proven superior choice. Learn for yourself what happened when one man ate only Numana storable food for an entire month. Online at PowerPrepper.com. That's PowerPrepper.com. Experience the Numana difference.
American-made food stores I love to eat. Yum!
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeen.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeen.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeen.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeen.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeen.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu 641-793-9660.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Teens radio show. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgoristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agorist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers, and some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agorist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any tomfoolery. So go with AgoristHosting.com. And if you want to get your foot in the door with decentralized marketplaces, Agorist Hosting is now offering Open Bazaar hosting. Go to agoristhosting.com, click on the button that says Get Hosted. Agorist Hosting, that's AGORIST hosting.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial in, toll free, join us here. We're talking consciousness. And what is it? Some scientists are now saying that it may be a state of matter, sort of like, liquid, solid, gas, consciousness. That's the proposal here, and Johnson's got some more. We'll tell you about that. Also, you can join us toll-free at 855-450-FREE. If you've got some comments, you're welcome to jump in on this conversation, or, of course, you can bring up anything you want. That's why we call the show Free Talk Live. In addition, I want you to know about the listening line, the audio-on-demand listen line, at 641-793-9660. It actually allows you to listen in not only live to Free Talk Live and LRN.FM, which is one of the radio networks that we're a part of, but also it allows you to listen to other shows from LRN.FM, like your show, Cody. Off the Air Live is one of the selections there, and close to a dozen shows actually available to you 24/7. The important point is that this is a long-distance phone number, so if you have to pay for long distance, you probably want to stay away from this. But if you get unlimited long distance, then this is a way for you to actually save data. Mark's been on this, I don't know if you want to call it a vacation. He's been trying to take a boat down to Florida and ultimately had to leave it in South Carolina because they didn't make it. There was a number of issues. He should be. I think he's actually back in town now, so we might be seeing him this weekend. But he ran out of data while he was out, on his data plan. So one of the ways that you can keep in touch with LRN.FM and Free Talk Live and not use any data at all is by using the audio-on-demand listen line, 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. And I believe the voicemail issue has been fixed. And it's not because I've tested it, but I did notice a couple voicemails came in today. So
add those numbers to your phone now in case you run out of data, because if you run out of data, you won't be able to look them up.
That's a good point. Yeah. Although most plans will throttle you. You don't actually run out of data. They just slow you way down to the point where you probably can't do much of any kind of media consumption.
It might take you a real long time to look those numbers up.
Yep, so there you go. 641-793-9660. You can either store it in your consciousness or store it in your phone, so you definitely won't forget it.
Nice.
So we're talking about consciousness here tonight, and Johnson, you're sharing a story from, where was it again? A Science Journal?
Science Alert.
Science Alert. Okay, very good. Because actually, this has been in the news for a couple of years now, right? This isn't.
Yep. Well,
this isn't new.
The idea was inspired by the work of neuroscience. Giulio, I think it's Giulio. Or Giulio.
Yeah, sounds like
Giulio.
Giulio
Tononi from the University of Wisconsin in Madison, who proposed in 2008 that if you wanted to prove that something had consciousness, you had to demonstrate two specific traits. According to his integrated information theory, the first of these traits is that a conscious being must be capable of storing, processing, and recalling large amounts of information. And second, explains the Arxiv blog, it's arxiv.org.
But how do you prove, before we go on to the second one, on the first one, how do you prove that a being can do those things if it has no meaningful way of communicating with you? So, like we have a dog here in the studio. Her name's Jazzy. I think she has her own consciousness, obviously, and it seems as though she can recall people when she sees them, and she can, there's certain things that are pretty clear that she can do. But like, what is it? How do you consider something to be a large amount of that information?
Well, I think that's independent of whether or not something's conscious or not.
I don't understand.
In other words, just because you don't know whether or not something is conscious or not doesn't necessarily impact whether or not it is.
I agree, but he's talking about ways to test for or determine whether something is conscious. And his first number one test was, you can go ahead and read it again.
Right, but in order to prove something, in other words, that it must be capable of processing, recalling, and recalling large amounts of information. If you're trying to prove something, then you have to be able to communicate that.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So it's very difficult to actually prove that any being has consciousness by that, unless you can communicate with the being.
Well, yeah, so you communicate with the being.
So that's about.
I mean, you can
that
communicate with dogs.
And that's
dogs are capable of storing large vocabularies of words.
That's true.
In English.
Okay.
So if the being can't communicate, I guess it's SOL.
Gotcha.
And second explains the X-Archive, or I don't know what that is, how they're trying to pronounce that, arxiv.org. This information must be integrated in a unified whole so that it is impossible to divide into independent parts. This means the consciousness has to be taken as a whole and cannot be broken down into separate components. A conscious being or system has to not only be able to store and process information, but it must do so in a way that forms a complete, indivisible whole, Tononi argued. If it occurred to you that a supercomputer could potentially have these traits, that's sort of what Tononi was getting at. As George Johnson writes for the New York Times, Tononi's hypothesis predicted, with a whole lot of maths, that devices as simple as a thermostat or photoelectric diode might have glimmers of consciousness, a subjective self. In Tony's calculations, those glimmers of consciousness do not necessarily equal a conscious system, and he even came up with a unit called phi, or the phi symbol, which he said could be used to measure how conscious a particular entity is. So they didn't go into it. I'll go into it because I've read this before. So the idea that a thermostat is conscious, right, comes from the idea that...
Or has a glimmer of it.
Has a glimmer of consciousness.
There's
right?
different levels of it, I assume,
It's perceiving a temperature, right? It's storing that information and it's providing it back to you, right? So it's storing that information and then providing it. So in a way, there's a glimmer of consciousness there, right? It has a function, it's processing this and it's doing it, so... It's kind of silly, but that's what the original theory is, just to sort of have this glimmer, this unit of consciousness to talk about it in a meaningful way.
So does that mean that computer programs that do more have a larger glimmer of consciousness?
Sure. Like AI programs? Yeah, I would guess that would be accurate.
It's interesting because wasn't it the Native Americans back in the day who kind of had the belief that pretty much everything was alive,
right?
The trees, the rocks, everything. So maybe there's different levels of consciousness,
sure.
and that really kind of
especially
changes
when it comes down
the
to
definition
of the state of matter in a pattern, and they figure that out. It's like, well, this rock isn't very conscious. Like they'll, be able to say, like, this pattern of stuff does not produce consciousness. It would be kind of interesting to see if they get to that point.
Yeah.
Well, it says 6 years later, Tegmark proposed that there are two types of matter that could be considered according to the integrated information theory. The first is computronium, which meets the requirements of the first trait, being able to store, process, and recall large amounts of information. And the second is perceptronium, which does all of the above, but in a way that forms the indivisible whole Tononi described. In his 2014 paper, Tegmark explores what he identifies as the 5 basic principles that could be used to distinguish conscious matter from other physical systems, such as solids, liquids, and gases. They never mentioned plasma.
Poor plasma.
Poor plasma, yeah.
The information
Always left out.
The information integration in independence and the information integration, independence, dynamics, and utility principles. He then spends 30 pages or so trying to explain how his new way of thinking about consciousness could explain the unique human perspective on the universe. As the arxiv.org blog explains, when we look at a glass of iced water, we perceive the liquid and the solid ice cubes as independent things, even though they are intimately linked as part of the same system. How does this happen?
It's true.
Out of all the possible outcomes, why do we perceive this solution? It's an incomplete thought, because Tegmark doesn't have a solution. And as you might have guessed, it's not something that his peers have been eager to take up and run with. But you can read his thoughts as they stand in his paper published in the journal Chaos, Solitons, and Fractals. That's the problem with something like consciousness.
Sounds like a real page turner.
Yep.
If you can't measure it, your attempts to measure it, if you can't measure your attempts to measure it, how can you be sure you've measured it at all?
Indeed.
More recently, scientists have attempted to explain how human consciousness could be transferred into an artificial body. Seriously, there's a startup that wants to do this.
I bet there is.
Of course there is. And one group of Swiss physicists have suggested consciousness occurs in time slices that are hundreds of milliseconds apart.
Ooh,
as Matthew Davidson, who studies the neuroscience of consciousness at Monash University in Australia, explains over at The Conversation, we still don't know much about what consciousness actually is, but it's looking more and more likely that it's something we need to consider outside the realm of humans.
Ooh, that sounds a little spacey. Hang on, Johnson. We'll come back to that here in moments. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can share your thoughts with us in little slices. It's Free Talk Live.
People who can afford a LASIK procedure sure are lucky. Imagine being able to throw away your contacts and glasses. Imagine waking up tomorrow with 20/20 vision. Too bad everyone can't afford LASIK. Well, guess what? There's a company that agrees with you. TLC Laser Eye Centers is now offering great prices on high-quality LASIK to make it affordable for everyone. That means you get the latest FDA-approved all-laser LASIK technology for less than what others charge. And if you call right now, we'll schedule a free appointment so you can discover if LASIK is right for you. Results may vary. Call 1-800-929-5733. Even better, if you're one of the first 100 callers, ask about an extra $400 off your all-laser LASIK procedure. That's $200 off per eye. We've already performed over 2 million procedures. Let us help you. Discover how you can get the quality LASIK experience you deserve for less than what others charge. For your free appointment, call 1-800-929-5733. 1-800-929-5733.
You are what you eat? No, not true. You are what you can absorb, because not absorbing nutrition leads to nutritional deficiency and degenerative diseases. Medication does not fix nutritional deficiencies, and North American soil is now 85% nutritionally depleted. That means your body is not getting the vitamins it needs from just grown foods. Introducing Protovite, the world's first and only full-spectrum protosomal supplement. Protovite is a proprietary liquid system that allows premium quality nutrients to positively affect the blood in an astonishing 5 minutes. That's rapid absorption. Then Protovite liquid continues to release sustained nutrition in the stomach, intestines, and colon over a prolonged period of time. See Protovite in action. Watch our amazing 2-minute live blood cell video today at TrueHealthFacts.com. That's TrueHealthFacts.com. Or call 502-410-3411. 502-410-3411. Protovite is nutrition you can feel. Protovite is nutrition that gets in.
Attention CPAP users, stop the insanity and torture of your CPAP mask. Don't you hate the skin irritation and terrible leaks? Jump on the CPAP Pro train, invented by an actual CPAP user that became so frustrated with CPAP masks. Are you ready to try something new? With absolutely no straps or headgear? Go to nomask.com and get the best night's sleep ever. Free to Medicare patients. Go to nomask.com. That's NOMASK.com.
If your home has hard water, then it's likely that limescale is clogging your pipes, damaging your appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars each year. You can eliminate limescale in the entire house with HydroCare products available at Wave Home Solutions. Easy and efficient with no maintenance, no salts, no chemicals, and no coils. And you can buy with confidence from Wave Home Solutions. Performance guaranteed. Just go to bestwater411.com. That's bestwater411.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nesquik. Try Nesquik 4-packs, perfect for lunches and great for kids on the go. Look for it in the juice aisle. Snack time is a great chance to sneak extra calcium into your child's diet without making him feel like he's eating something he doesn't want. Serve up dairy-rich foods like smoothies, flavored milk, frozen yogurt, and string cheese. He'll love the treat, and you'll love knowing how good it is for him. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live, and of course, you can join us on the radio. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Now, what is consciousness? Well, science doesn't really know, but some scientists have some interesting speculative theories, and we'll talk a little bit more about that coming up here. Also, want to let you know how you can get interactive with Free Talk Live. One of the ways to do it is right there on the front page of our website. It is a Reddit-based homepage where you can actually submit content. So if you find some sort of interesting story that you want to share with us, maybe an outrageous YouTube video or whatever it is that you think our listeners and hosts would be interested in, you just submit it there to the front page of the site. Other listeners can then vote as to whether they like or dislike your suggestion, and you get to vote on other people's suggestions as well. So go there and get interactive. It's all free at freetalklive.com.
Do you usually use that for your show prep website to look at?
It is one of the places that I look.
One of the places.
It's not the exclusive show prep place, but it's a great way to find out what our listeners are interested in. So,
well, it's another way to take control of the airwaves, right?
Well, exactly. Well, I mean, the best way to do that is to call in, because if you're just submitting things to the front page of the site, like, we don't guarantee we're going to read everything on the front page.
Yeah.
But if there's something cool there, if there's something that catches my attention, I'm absolutely going to use it. So that's kind of the point of that program. So again, freetalklive.com. Go get interactive there.
Have you done automatically promoting? I know sometimes, like, the old Free Talk Live homepage used to have announcements about the show, things that were going on.
Yeah, that's right.
And it used to be right on the front page. Have you yet interjected? Because I know you can automatically, as a moderator and admin, promote a story and have it show up on the page. Have you done that at all? Or?
I've done it once or twice. We also now have the FTL blog, which is another option on the front page to so you can kind of flip from one to the other.
And of course, the email list.
If you want, yes, and there is the email list. So we do send out weekly email updates, kind of keeping you in the loop with what's going on with Free Talk Live. So that's email is probably the best way to
some
to follow
people
us.
are RSS,
yeah, sure,
savvy.
In which case we do have the FTL blog, which has all that content because the emails come from that blog.
I'm just wondering what happened to the Shrine of Female Listeners.
Yeah, we retired it after a while.
Too bad.
Yeah, it was one of those things that we weren't really getting much action on as far as submissions or whatever, and so we just took one more and called it a day. It's still there if you want to see it. I think. I don't know. The website's so big, I don't really even know what's on and what's off of the site at this point.
You need like a torch and like a whip to sort of explore dodging boulders.
The site, the depths.
Maybe an escape rope if too many Pokemon show up and screw your day up.
Look out for snake pits.
All right, so we got more on consciousness, Johnson. You were talking about how this scientist is arguing that consciousness is a state of matter, sort of like liquid, plasma, gas.
So he goes on to say, this tech mark, he says, if consciousness is indeed an emergent feature of a highly integrated network, as IIT suggests, then probably all complex systems, certainly all creatures with brains, have some minimal form of consciousness, he says, which makes sense to me. Like, that absolutely makes sense. I know a lot of people will believe animals don't have consciousness, they don't have souls.
I think nonsense.
They do. Well, that's how we feel better about eating them, probably.
Well, what he's saying, though, is that the more complicated a creature is, the more conscious it is,
Yeah, I
basically.
think so, yeah. More complicated the brain system, yeah. By extension, if consciousness is defined by the amount of integrated information in a system, then we may also need to move away from any form of human exceptionalism that says that consciousness is exclusive to us.
Oh, I would totally agree with that.
And then they link to, apparently, Tegmark did a TED Talk on consciousness as a mathematical pattern. Probably people should check that out.
I mean, the differences between a human and a dog or a cat, for instance, are very minimal, right? I mean, as far as isn't human DNA or like dog and cat DNA like 96% the same as a human's? I mean,
I mean, it's the same as, chimps and apes,
right,
or even closer.
So, I mean, to suggest that 96% that they're somehow far beneath us, I think, is to underestimate the abilities of our animal friends.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing about being an animal is you're not constantly plagued with nonsense anxiety. Like, yeah, you'll be afraid if a tiger's chasing you, maybe. But it seems like most animals are pretty much living in the moment and having a pretty good time. We picked up a new cat. His name is Tails. And he pretty much just chills on my bed all day.
Must be nice.
No worries in the world. No worries in the world.
He gets a little tweaked out about Jazzy, though, coming around.
Right, but how quickly does he get over it?
Yeah.
Versus how quickly does it take for somebody to get over a breakup?
Right, or to forgive an old friend or something.
Jazzy's a very aggressive cat lover.
Jazzy would love to love that kitty very closely, but he's not interested yet.
That sounds wrong.
Jazzy's a lover.
She's a nuzzler, She likes to nuzzle the all kitties, and
most of them don't like
cats
that.
don't necessarily like to be licked by giant dog tones.
Cats like their personal space sometimes. Yeah. Definitely true.
So, yeah, interesting. I don't know this whole pattern of consciousness, but I definitely am of the theory that we are headed towards conscious machines, and people don't.
Oh, yeah.
There are people that absolutely don't believe that it's going to happen. I'm one of the people that.
Well,
believes
that's the
100%.
thing is, how do you tell the difference? Right? You can't measure consciousness. At least they have no way of doing that. So how would you know whether this machine is conscious or not? I mean, if they are, if it looks like a duck and it acts like a duck, then it's probably a duck. And if it seems to have consciousness, I mean, if you can't discern the difference between a machine and a human, then
there's an oversimplification there. So the oversimplification that I think that a lot of people don't necessarily understand about machine consciousness, right, is the attempts at AI now, right, are essentially call and response, right? Like the AI chatbots that are out there, which are ridiculously bad. Even you talk about your Siri and your Cortana and your Alexa and all those. I
don't have much experience with them. I know they exist, but I've never actually tried them.
So, and I've tried all of them, but
And you've been disappointed.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not like you're going to have a conversation with these things, even though they have like witty responses like, will you marry me? No, I'm not,
It's not like the movie Her, where the man is having a very deep conversation with his operating system.
Exactly. So the thing that people think is they think about this like, just because you keep programming these responses in, as though that's going to be the way that we get to AI.
As though you can program it to consciousness.
That they just keep programming in responses and responses and responses and responses. They just keep doing that and doing that and doing that, and it learns, and then eventually it's just going to have responses for everything, right? No. That's not how I think that we're ever going to get to AI. I think that's a ridiculous attempt. So the way that...
Yeah, having a response to everything kind of...
Right.
It doesn't make you authentic necessarily.
Right.
It just means you have an answer to stuff.
Right. So the way that this is going to work and like I can say that with a fair amount of certainty, and I'm going off of I've read copious amounts of information from Futurist and the lead AI researcher at Google, and I can't remember his name. I'll get
the
it.
guy who wrote the book on the singularity, right?
Right,
Yeah.
correct. Ray Kurzweil. There we go. It came to me finally. My brain finally decided to organize its patterns. It become a little bit more conscious. So Ray Kurzweil has written, The Rise of Intelligent Machines or The Age of Machines. He's written several books on it. He's wrote a book on creating AI and talked all about this. And so when you think about simulations. So, you've played Flight Simulator,
sure.
SimCity.
Yep.
These things simulate what is happening in reality, right? And they're very good, like the simulations that happen there. Like you can, place structures for a city, and the city's going to grow in a certain way in a SimCity type game, or Spore, you're growing a population of little aliens. These sim games, they're taking naturalistic concepts and putting them in a computer and using probabilistic algorithms to make something happen, based on they're bringing in random noise, and it's not just this happens as a response to this. It's not like just a series of responses. It's a pattern that's generated, right? This pattern is generated based on like laws, right?
The rules of the game.
The rules of the game. So you can take, and for example, in very, very simple structures, they're doing this now with rat brain cells, right? You can simulate what would happen in a cell, right? How the organelles work, the mitochondria, et cetera, how it would react to certain chemicals. And we're quickly getting to the point in medical science where we're going to be able to test what would happen to liver cells if you introduced a certain substance, a particular drug or chemical to them.
Through a simulation.
Through a simulation, and see what would happen, because the rules are there, and it can figure out what would happen if this happened, right? So computing power is obviously not at the point now where you could do this with the billions and billions and billions of brain cells that are out there, but information science is exponential. So eventually what we're going to have is we're going to get to the point of where you'll be able to simulate all brain cells in a fully functional brain operating at the same time and simulate what would happen as the neurochemicals are passing through those brains.
Which should create consciousness.
It should create consciousness, and you would be able to have thoughts come out of that and go into that, and it would be like a
Cody,
regular
you've got
brain.
an AI-related story. I want to get into that here in a moment. It's 855-450 free, and you can join us here on Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com. You've said it yourself. We need a healthcare system that focuses on health, not sickness. Health insurance pays for treating sickness but gives you nothing for being healthy. There's a free market healthcare company that gives you freedom from health insurance. They give you a proactive health assessment daily, no charge 24-hour access to doctors. Check them out right now at healthexcellenceselect.com. Any kind of doctor, traditional, integrative, chiropractic, acupuncture, and massage. You'll love the service and price. healthexcellenceselect.com. healthexcellenceselect.com.
Are you a political activist who does things that the government might not like? Then this free ebook may save your life. Rats is your guide to protecting yourself against snitches, informers, informants, agents provocateur, narcs, finks, and similar vermin. Rats was written by OG libertarian Claire Wolfe. Rats is a short book, easy to read, and available free in many formats. Download Rats free at rats-nosnitch.com. That's rats-nosnitch.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, October 4th, 2016. Silver is trading at $18.64 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,306 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $612. Antiwar.com reports for the second time in a year the Taliban has captured the major northern Afghan city of Kunduz, pushing into the city overnight and capturing the center of the city, the provincial capital of the Kunduz province, and sending the Afghan forces scrambling to react. Fighting has continued throughout the day, and while some officials are claiming that they've retaken the central square itself, the fighting is ongoing, and the Taliban has shown time and again that once they get into these cities, it isn't easy to expel them. The Pentagon says U.S. troops are ready to assist in the fighting over the city, saying that a number of U.S. enablers are already in the area to provide whatever support the government seeks. The last Taliban raid in late 2015 saw them holding Kunduz for months. Kunduz is one of 3 provincial capitals in Afghanistan that are facing imminent attacks by the Taliban, with their forces also having advanced over the past few days towards the outskirts of the city of Lashkar Gah and Tarin Kot. When her plush and comfy life suddenly and unexpectedly fell apart, Brooke and her dog Cloud set out to defy the odds. If this is a man's world, as they say, living on the streets is no place for a young woman. One day she awoke in the redwood forest and realized she had become a hobo, and would ultimately come to know exactly what it means to survive. How to Be a Hobo by Brooke Willett is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. UPI reports Ohio will resume executions next year with a new 3-drug combination for lethal injections following a 3-year hiatus caused by difficulties in obtaining the drugs used previously. Dan Tierney, a spokesman for the Ohio Attorney General's office, said Assistant State Attorney General Thomas Madden told a federal judge that the state will file details of protocol change related to executions this week, according to USA Today. In October 2015, Ohio said it would postpone scheduled executions until at least 2017 due to the dwindling availability of the drugs used for lethal injection. The problem worsened after many compounding pharmacies, which had previously supplied the drugs, refused to sell them to prison officials on legal and ethical grounds. The European Union voted in 2011 to ban the sale of pentobarbital to the United States over its use in executions. The next death row inmate scheduled for execution is Ronald R. Phillips, who was convicted of raping and beating a 3-year-old girl to death in 1993. Phillips was originally set to die on January 12th, but his scheduled execution date was pushed back to January 12, 2017. Ohio's last execution was January 2014 when Dennis McGuire was put to death. Witnesses to his execution said it took up to 25 minutes for McGuire to die and that the inmate appeared to gasp for air during the process. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports a federal judge in Nevada said professional race car driver Scott Tucker and several of his companies owe $1.27 billion to the Federal Trade Commission after systematically deceiving payday lending customers about the cost of their loans. In a decision late on Friday, Chief Judge Gloria Navarro of the federal court in Las Vegas, Nevada, said Tucker was specifically aware that the customers often did not understand the terms of their loans and was at least recklessly indifferent towards how those loans were marketed. Navarro wrote, Scott Tucker did not participate in an isolated discrete incident of deceptive lending, but engaged in sustained and continuous conduct that perpetuated the deceptive lending since at least 2008. The judge also barred Tucker from engaging in consumer lending. Lawyers for Tucker did not immediately respond on Monday to a request for comment. Tucker had argued that there was no fraud or intent to deceive, and that his loans met industry standards. The FTC on Monday asked Navarro to direct the turnover of some previously frozen assets to help satisfy the judgment. Tucker, who races in the United United States and Europe, faces separate criminal charges in Manhattan, where prosecutors accused him of running a $2 billion payday lending scheme that exploited 4.5 million customers. A trial in that case is scheduled for April 17th. Tucker pled not guilty in February of this year. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
After notifying students that there will be no awesome events happening on campus this weekend, Hamilton College Activity Board Coordinator Jessica Wilson from the class of 2015 spoke to Onion reporters about the disappointingly empty days ahead.
On behalf of the entire Campus Activities Board, I would like to truly apologize for failing to live up to the standards expected of us from everyone on campus. And the fact is, we let the school down.
Wilson said that while the board is usually proficient at booking plenty of cool events for all students to participate in, the upcoming weekend will have no interesting lectures, no wrestling match against Amherst, no acoustic coffee house, and no outdoor movie screening of Silver Linings Playbook.
We tried our best to organize a foam party in Dunham Quad for Friday night, but all the foam machines were rented, and we failed. This falls on us. We realize we don't deserve your trust yet, nor do we expect it, but we'll do everything we can to restore your confidence in us, starting with a comedy hypnotist show on Thursday at Minor Theater. Tickets are $5.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever's on your mind. You can join us here toll-free, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. How long will it be before we've got robots calling in to talk radio? We were talking about consciousness in the last hour, and I know that Cody had an interesting story about artificial intelligence that I think will relate to the discussion that we're having here. I just watched the new Westworld drama on HBO within the last couple of days, and it's fantastic. And I think it's going to be addressing a lot of the issues that we're talking about here tonight. Let's go to your calls and thoughts to start out hour number 2 here. Of course, you can take control of the airwaves. 855-450-FREE. That's our toll-free number. And Skype username again, LRN.FM. Let's go to Fred first. In Tennessee, you're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Fred.
Hello.
Hey there. You're on the air.
Love it. Like what you're doing here, but
Thanks.
I want to propose that perhaps everything could be turned on its head. And I've studied this for 40 years now, that matter organizing itself randomly is not the basis of consciousness, but consciousness is the basis of matter organizing itself. And so that's why AI is not nearly the problem it seems like, because the tendency, with consciousness, we spring forth from consciousness. Matter itself is one of the first manifestations of that energy. And if you do that, then you have a whole different set of equations. You have a energetic universe that even that plasma is not random as it might seem to us when it's collected.
So what you're saying is the reverse of the other theory that we're talking about, or kind of the reverse of it. The theory last hour was that
right.
consciousness was a state of matter. That's what some scientists are saying, sort of like, I'm just recapping for people just tuning in, consciousness being a state of matter would put it in the range of liquid, solid, gas, plasma consciousness. You're saying that consciousness already was, and that matter is created out of consciousness, which sounds like more of a New Age view.
Mind over matter,
well,
right?
It's actually physics. A lot of modern physics is really based on that. It's not mind over matter. It would be Zen-like, which is really old age if you think about it, in the sense that they say mind, no mind, and what was first, mind is first, and then of course that's wrong too. But it turns everything on its head, but it also solves all these problems.
It would seem to be that consciousness is sort of an opposing force to entropy.
A part of
that consciousness is something that's self-organizing, whereas the natural state of the universe is to be entropic and to sort of everything to degrade. But consciousness seems to be self-organizing and oppose entropy and organize. Like human beings, obviously, are organizing things on the planet all times. Animals organize things, even ants.
That's very limiting. That's very limiting. What I'm saying is for instance, one of the things I studied, 40, 50 years ago was a spider who will, injected with venom, pull off its own arm to save its life. That is as smart as I am, maybe a little smarter. You see what I'm saying? Human beings do that kind of thing to continue their life. You don't need the arms and the legs to live. Look at Stephen Hawking. You don't need anything except that consciousness, that spark to live, to be intelligent, to be human. So, like I say, this does make everything as smart as you, but I've learned to live with that. Okay, it makes a rock as smart as you, and it is old physics. It's in the Ayurveda, a lot of places. Go.
I wouldn't necessarily say everything is as smart as you, but I would say that everything is connected to the same source energy.
Well, I didn't think you would say it. But.
Fred, interesting twist on everything. Thanks for calling and sharing that with us. Appreciate hearing from you here tonight. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Do you think there's something to that, Johnson? The idea that consciousness sort of leads to creating matter and the other, things in life?
I mean, that's a sort of a very creationist sort of idea.
It does sort of suggest.
Sounds like, who knows?
Well, that's
Whatever.
true. We don't know
really
whether the
that,
chicken or the egg in this case came first.
If there's
the matter or the consciousness.
If there's a religious theory out there that I would think is something that I would support more than say the Sky Daddy theory of Christianity, I would lean more towards saying that if you're going to adopt some sort of spiritualistic religion, then sure, say that if there's going to be a creation that it's just an energy or an intelligence out there that is created the rules, the rules for the universe.
Does spirituality necessarily have to come from a religious perspective, though? Can it just be about vibrations and frequencies and you can? I feel like you can kind of make things sciencey.
Well, I mean, a religion
at this point.
Well,
you want to.
There are all these different pseudosciences that are out there.
Well, I mean, there's still some people calling psychology pseudoscience, right? I mean, there's a lot of things that science can't explain that still exist. We still sleep and dream, and we really don't completely know why.
Yeah, I'm thinking more like
it.
Astrology, ghost hunting, tarot reading, spiritual mediums, that kind of thing.
What I'm talking about is, people talk about feelings and emotions, but really more scientifically, I think it's just a vibration. I think there's a vibration for hate and a vibration for love, and you just want to vibe with the right one.
Toll-free number tonight allows you to vibrate with us for a few moments. The number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
Certainly in a more literal way, since there will be sound waves creating vibrations that go through.
Which will then be turned into electromagnetic waves,
right.
Broadcast all around
and then
the
processed
United States.
And sent back out, and then back into the air through someone else's speakers.
You speaking into a microphone creates a whole lot of vibrations in a lot of different places.
Science takes the magic out of everything. It really does.
Well,
magnets. How do they work?
Yeah, right. Story from the Express. This is the one you brought in here tonight, Cody. I'm going to share it. It's from express.co.uk. And I think we talked about Zoltan Istvan previously, didn't we?
Yes.
I forget was it just the fact that he was going around in a gigantic hearse driving around the country running for president? What was the reason we even brought him up?
I think it was some sort of spiritual religious kind of thing at that time. I don't remember exactly.
Well, he's still apparently running for president, and he is Zoltan Istvan, third-party candidate in the race to become America's next president, has warned the development of AI is going to have the biggest impact on humanity that has ever been. Scientists across the globe have been frantically working on the development of artificial intelligence, which would see machines or software expressing intelligence on par with humans. Many have warned on the perils of developing machines that are as capable as us, as it could realistically make humans obsolete if they could take our jobs and eventually see us as more of a hindrance.
So I'm able to search all my prep that I've ever brought in.
Ah, yes.
And so the two stories that we've talked about, maybe, I don't know if we actually talked about both of them, but written by Zoltan Istvan, were the Church of Perpetual Life that wants to end deathism.
Right,
that
the transhumanist
whole story about transhumanists, but ending the whole obsession with death, and talking about how culture is kind of obsessed with death, and then one that I don't know that we ever got to, which was that he wrote, that technology will replace the need for big government.
Yeah, I don't recall if we did that one.
Sounds like kind of a zeitgeisty idea.
Yeah, I think this guy is actually a little bit tied in with zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Istvan is a transhumanist, a movement that wants to use science and technology to radically change the human being and the human experience by merging our bodies with machine. And Futurist share similar worries. According to The Express, he argues that AI will be used to dominate the military landscape and will be more significant than the development of the nuclear bomb. Speaking to Express, Mr. Istvan said, quote, "If I was going to become president tomorrow, I would put a huge amount of resources into the development of AI because I find that whoever comes up or ends up controlling the very first or smartest AI is probably going to very quickly dominate the entire military landscape." He said further, if you have a machine that can program viruses or hack into any other machine, you have such a distinct advantage over any other world government. Now, of course, they would obviously have to keep that machine under wraps. They would have to keep whatever its programming was entirely secret because copying programming is a simple matter. I mean, it doesn't take it's a few keystrokes to copy an entire file.
Gotta make sure WikiLeaks doesn't get a hold of that information.
Right, so one leak and then the whole world has the same AI. It's Free Talk Live. More coming up.
The following is an incredible, life-changing free offer for anyone with hearing problems who wants to start hearing everything more clearly again. We're now offering free in-home trials of a revolutionary hearing breakthrough called Listen Clear to anyone who calls this special toll-free number now. 1-800-719-2949. Call in the next 10 minutes and you'll also qualify for free shipping and free batteries for life. Listen Clear is precisely designed by top audio engineers. It adjusts to let you find the perfect way to hear everything, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. And Listen Clear is so invisible, people may not even know you're wearing it. And it's so lightweight, you may even forget you're wearing it too. Don't miss this special life-changing opportunity to hear everything more clearly again for free with a 100% free in-home trial, free shipping, and even free batteries for life. For free information, call now. 1-800-719-2949. That's 1-800-719-2949. 1-800-719-2949.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson of the Genesis Communications Network. Over the 30-plus years I've been in finance, I can see that the world economy is now at a critical point. Unlimited money creation and runaway debt could trigger a collapse of the financial system. It's imperative that you protect yourself in case of hyperinflation or even deflation. Investment Rarities has put together a survival bag of 200 silver quarters. These 90% silver quarters are dated 1964 and earlier. Each quarter is worth almost $5. If a quarter has already reached $5, the trend is obviously on your side. These survival bags sell for $8.95 delivered. Call 800-328-1860 to order today. Not only can these quarters be used for barter in a brief period of hyperinflation, they have the potential to appreciate 5 to 10 times. Call 800-328-1860. Get one for each member of your family. Call 800-328-1860. That's 800-328-1860.
Video game players love customizing every aspect of their character. One game, Elder Scrolls Online, has set a new bar for character creation by letting players design every organ and cell in their avatar's body.
In Elder Scrolls Online, you get to play as whoever you want to play. You are in control of everything from your character's face to their hair to their arteries. We're not just going to give you some pre-made bones and ligaments. You get to create the musculoskeletal system that's right for you. You can even alter the DNA.
Are all of these changes just cosmetic?
No, not at all. They have a huge effect on game playing. If your character's body has any anatomical flaws, they could die immediately.
Beta testers say that designing every aspect of their character is a compelling experience.
I've been designing my orc's liver for 5 hours now. This is awesome.
Designing the hands is the hardest part. I keep having to look up how all the joints connect.
Players can also press the randomize button to get a completely random collection of body parts.
This is the Onion News Network.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update.
In early trading Tuesday, gold is $27 lower at $1,285 per ounce. Silver is down 50 cents at $18.29 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $607 US. With metals sharply lower today, this is a great time to buy on the dip. Get started today and give us a call at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything that you want. Just dial in toll-free to us here at 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. You want to save big time on your purchases at Amazon, just start your shopping at saveitpurse.com. That's saveitpurse.com. That allows you to save 10, 15, 20% easily on pretty much anything you want to buy. You can try to save more, but it all just depends on the marketplace. And basically what you're doing is you're selling your Bitcoin at incredibly inflated markups to people who are, for whatever reason, they really want to pay that kind of money for Bitcoin. And there's different reasons people would do that. But regardless, if you go to saveitpurse.com, that's where you can get started. And I did mention the catch here. You have to have Bitcoin. If you want to save big time on your Amazon purchases and you don't have Bitcoin, well, I'm sorry, we can't help you. But if you get Bitcoin, this is a great reason to get Bitcoin because it allows you to save easily, big time, on the stuff that you're going to buy anyway. You're going to buy stuff online anyway. You're probably going to buy from Amazon, so why not save 15% on everything that you buy? So go to saveitpurse.com to start there, and again, that's saveatpurse.com. We're talking about Zoltan Istvan. He's a third-party presidential candidate, and I don't know what his political party is called. It doesn't mention it in the story here, and nor do I know how many states he will be appearing on the ballot in. I don't know that detail, but he is driving around the country in an RV that has been modified to look like a hearse, and like a gigantic hearse, basically, or like a gigantic coffin, I guess is more accurate.
So that's some sort of transhumanist type of message that he's trying to convey?
Yes. And he has written, I believe, Johnson, you were sharing some of the titles of some of the stuff he's written. We've shared one of them in the past, and I think he was writing for Huffington Post at that time, if I'm recalling correctly. But, basically, he's an advocate for transhumanism, an advocate for moving humanity beyond the point of death. But here he is in the story over at The Express saying that he's very concerned about the future of AI, that it could very well dominate the military landscape and may be more of a significant development than that of the nuclear bomb. He says that if you have a machine that can program viruses or hack into any other machine...
Vice, by the way.
Was Vice?
Yeah, it was Vice.
You have such a distinct advantage over any other world government. Whoever gets to AI first is simply going to end up being the global leader, said Zoltan.
So it's basically the next Manhattan Project.
In fact, that's what he says here. You have to see AI as you would see the Manhattan Project or the development of nuclear bombs. He said it changed the military landscape the moment the U.S. dropped the bombs in Japan, and the first AI is probably going to be about 5 to 10 times that effect. The idea that we could go into a nation and completely turn off all their power, mess with all their traffic lights, send viruses into all their computers, and stop the water flowing, this is exactly why AI is so important. And I would further argue it's exactly why it's so important to end the idea of governments. Because when you put something with the power, the potential power of AI into the hands of human beings who are in search of power, then that's going to be a very ugly combination. You're going to give humans who already have too much power the ability to do even more destruction with this technology. So I love the idea of AI. I think it's something that's inevitable. It's going to happen. It is happening.
You can't stop it, yeah.
Right. I just wish that we could, and it's not going to be like this, likely, but I wish we could stop the idea of the state before we actually got to the point of like a consciousness-based machine.
Yeah, because it almost sounds
machines that stop the state.
Yeah, wouldn't that be that would be ironic if the like the big scare, right, is like all the movies, Terminators, and all these Hollywood movies are about machines turning against humans.
But wouldn't it be interesting if the machines actually identified that, oh, the problem is government, and then just abolishes it through force? It just kills off all the government out there in the world. And then,
wouldn't the New World Order be so disappointed?
Well, that would still be a New World Order, though, I guess. A new machine world order.
So. But, so correct me if I'm wrong, but it almost sounds like Zoltan is hoping that, vote for him because we need America to be the first country with AI.
Yeah, that's what he's
saying. So we can continue to be the world superpower.
Yeah, he's saying that he would give a large amount of funding to AI development.
Yeah.
As though we need the government to get involved in creating AI. I think that's also a mistake. Let's let the market, let's let the sciencey folks work on that, and we don't need to have government tipping the scales in any one group's favor or not.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the government that invented the iPod. It was the private sector, so you don't want to trust them with this stuff.
So I want to read a little thing because you were talking about this, AI possibly being like a nuclear weapon, and I actually
that's what Zoltan says.
I've been listening very recently to something that was brought up on this podcast that I listened to called Security Now.
Okay,
and Security Now is all about tech and computer security.
Bruce Schneier?
No, that's not Bruce Schneier. That's Bruce on Security. I think is that one.
Oh, okay.
Security Now is with Leo Laporte and Steve Gibson.
So it's a Twit podcast.
Yes.
Leo Laporte.
Leo. So they were talking, and one of the things about their show is that they pay someone to transcribe every single episode.
Wow, that's got to be expensive.
I don't think that it's that expensive because they the transcribers also use
voice recognition.
Yeah, voice recognition, and then just kind of correct it as it goes.
Interesting.
So anyway, they so I'm going to read this segment, and it says, and this I have two things labeled from the fringe just because, okay, well, you'll see. And the first, I mean, they're serious, and I mean, they're seriously written. The first one is written by Stuart Russell, who is a UC Berkeley computer science professor known for his contributions to AI. And I went through the page, and he's got a thing for what he calls lethal autonomous weapons systems, which he's very concerned about. So he writes...
Killer robots.
Yeah. A very, very small quadcopter, 1 inch in diameter, can carry a 1 or 2 gram shaped charge. You can order them from a drone manufacturer in China. You can program the code to say, here are thousands of photographs of the kinds of things I want to target. A 1 gram shaped charge can punch a hole in 9 millimeters of steel.
Wow.
So presumably you can also punch a hole in someone's head, he writes.
Yep.
You can fit about 3 million of those into a semi-tractor trailer. You can drive up I-95 with 3 trucks and have 10 million weapons attacking New York City. He's a cheery fellow. They don't have to be very effective. Only 5 or 10% of them have to find a target. He writes, there will be manufacturers producing millions of these weapons that people will be able to buy just like you can buy guns now, except millions of guns don't matter unless you have millions of soldiers. You only need 3 guys to write the program to launch them. So you can just imagine that.
That's terrifying.
In many parts of the world, humans will be hunted. They will be cowering underground in shelters and devising techniques so that they don't get detected. This is the ever-present cloud of lethal autonomous weapons. They could be here in 2 to 3 years. And this is when Leo interjects, what? I wish I knew that earlier. I would have fortified the studio a little more. Steve says, well, yeah, wow. Now, first of all, we know, for example, we've seen pictures of drones trying to fire a gun. And the problem is that, as Newton explained to us a long time ago, that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Right. So in order to push anything out the gun muzzle in one direction, the drone is going to get shot back in the relative mass of these two things substantially, which lowers the muzzle velocity. And Leo's like, yeah, recoil's a bitch.
But instead, they're saying this little drone would just drop these little bombs. And
well, it would just land on someone and just explode. I mean, you wouldn't need to refire necessarily. I mean,
right?
It's just crazy to kind of think of this distributed. That a truck of these things could just fly and let out these little drones.
Crazy.
And when you think about it, this is possible now. I mean, there are mosquito hunting robots.
855-450 free.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. 0937. That's 800-261-0937.
By now you know that wireless technology like cell phones do in fact pose dangers to the health and privacy of everyone. Block-It Pocket's wide range of products are unmatched in providing the protection you deserve. No scare tactics, just common sense. BlockItPocket.com offers quality American-made options to alleviate and eliminate these invisible dangers. Learn more at BlockItPocket.com or call 888-315-9618. BlockItPocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your get intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
The Shire Free Church offers a sanctuary to those seeking an escape from state churches.
The Shire Free Church is an interfaith, diverse group of people that may not share identical theological beliefs. As a member in or minister of the Shire Free Church, you are a sovereign individual and may be the faith of your choice.
We don't claim to have all of the answers.
We are open to all peaceful people.
We want to learn from each other.
What unifies the Shire Free Church and its diverse members is peace,
love, and liberty. There are many paths to God, one for every individual.
The Shire Free Church does not define a specific path beyond those parameters that must be your foundation.
Peace as your way,
love as your guide,
and liberty as your light.
Learn more at church.shiresociety.com.
That's church.shiresociety.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free. Join us here. The number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Skype username is lrn.fm. And let's see here. Want to let you know about my pillow. It is probably the best pillow you'll ever use. And you know what? You get to find out with very little risk. In fact, there's a 60-day money-back guarantee on my pillow. Unlike a regular pillow, by the way, you can actually put my pillow into your washing machine and your dryers. You can actually clean the My Pillow, which I've never seen that feature in a pillow in my life. And I've been using My Pillow for the last several months. It's a great pillow, the best one I've ever had. In fact, it's designed to fit to the shape of your body and hold your neck in the proper position. You go to mypillow.com and use code FTL. You'll get your My Pillow at half price, or you can get two for the price of one.
It's basically the same deal. However many you want there, mypillow.com, code FTL to get this special offer for Free Talk Live listeners. And the pillow itself is guaranteed to last for 10 years. So 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee. mypillow.com with code FTL, like Free Talk Live. As we go back to the discussion about artificial intelligence, and Johnson, you were sharing with us an excerpt from a different radio show, the Security, what was it?
Security Now podcast, yes.
With Leo Laporte.
Yep.
Kind of a scary
scenario about drones, like little mini drones.
Tiny little drones.
Anybody can, program these.
That could drop mini bombs. He said it was like an inch in size.
Yeah, I mean, these are basically, those little quadcopters. You see them now. They exist. I mean, and if you could attach.
It sounded like he was talking about smaller.
Yeah, but they're smaller now.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you could have millions of these or 100,000 or whatever, that
and they all drop little teeny little bombs.
And the programming could be done now to have them seek out and land on a human target. I mean,
well, thankfully the only people who tend to think about that kind of stuff are military people, and that's why I was saying is why we need to get rid of the military and get rid of the governments of the world before these machines come about. But unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be on the horizon.
So they were talking about the recoil, and getting into whatever the recoil is.
Why a drone can't shoot a gun easily.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But if it lands on someone, then it could blow up, and that's how it worked. But they start with saying, recoil is a bitch. And then Steve goes on to say, exactly. So I don't know. I also don't know about this 1 gram shaped charge. I mean, you'd have to allow this little mosquito thing to land on you and then go off in order to do damage. But the problem is, it's interesting. One of the things I meant to talk to you about, and I forgot to when I was reading this most recent Peter Hamilton book, The Great North Road, was that there's a whole bunch of the notion of grid systems, they sprayed sensor goo, which formed an autonomous intercommunicating grid in order to link up to something. And of course, it was Daniel Suarez who did the amazing books about then Leo interjects, Damon and Freedom. Oh yeah, Influx. Yeah. The drone hordes, Steve says. Leo says, yeah. And I mean, these are chilling things, and technically, he's not wrong. So, I mean, there are some technical hurdles to overcome. You'd need to have a camera on this little thing. It's got to have smarts. But, neural networks, and I'm hearing you on many of the podcasts, Leo, talking about AI. Many of your guests talk about AI being an area of huge expected growth in the future.
Oh, yeah.
We're all hoping that Siri gets smarter somehow. Maybe Apple could make search work. Should be really wonderful for the App Store. Apply some AI there. But still, this guy's obviously painting a very gloomy forecast. But there's nothing technically impossible about it. Leo
what's
says
scary about it.
He's counting on the hockey stick. That's what he's counting on when he says 2 years. And that's what, all these AI researchers when you project that kind of thing, you project an exponential growth at some points, which just
That's what he means by the hockey stick, the curve.
Yeah, an exponential growth point at some point, which just takes off. And the AI start building better and better stuff faster than a human could. And Steve interjects, Skynet. Leo says, yeah, Skynet.
Well, that's the singularity, right?
Yeah.
Where the AI becomes able to upgrade itself, essentially.
Right. But then, also wants to eliminate all humans.
No, not necessarily.
Well, they're mentioning Skynet.
That's a theory about it, but
they're mentioning Skynet. And then you're left behind in the dust with the silicon dust. Well, and it is the case. I mean, I was privileged to be at Stanford's AI lab. This is Steve talking again. In the early 70s, the sort of birth of that very first optimistic AI effort. We had robot arms, we had vision systems, and when you turned right to go up this windy road, there was a sign there that said, "Caution, robot vehicle in operation." Leo was like, wow, and this was in the
70s?
Yeah, wow, and this was in the 70s? Steve's like, yeah, in 72, 71, 72. And we were all like, it just sort of seemed, okay, we're going to solve these problems. And it turns out it's really hard. Leo's like, yeah. I mean, it's now, of course, we've got ridiculous computing power compared to what we had back then, but these are still hard problems. Leo says, it feels like it's going to happen. We just don't know when.
Absolutely. Let me get back into Zoltan here. He is arguing that the world's government should form a coalition to create AI, as it needs to be so carefully monitored. Again, not necessarily in favor of putting governments in charge of anything surrounding AI. He added, quote, "To me, it's incredibly important that a democratic nation develops AI first because we need to keep it as a democratic power. He said further, imagine if North Korea developed AI that could very quickly destabilize the entire world almost immediately. Well, the good news is North Korea barely has computers that work, so
I don't think we have to worry about that.
I wouldn't worry about them.
I would be way more worried if the United States government got AI.
The U.S. citizen of Hungarian descent who's been vocal in his opposition to AI has conceded that the development of machines that are smarter than humans is inevitable, which is why the world's leaders need to work together to develop and subsequently contain it.
I think it's inevitable in our lifetimes.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. And, it's interesting that a guy who is on one hand a transhumanist, which is generally someone who believes in human beings augmenting their bodies with machines, with robotics, cybernetics, if you will.
Yeah.
That's what someone who's a transhumanist believes. On the other hand, he's anti-AI. So it just shows that we're going to have, very, very different interest groups in the future. You're going to have, of course, the people who will not augment themselves at all, like, the sort of the Luddites, if you will. They will not accept any kind of nanotechnology, any kind of machines going into their body. Now we have pacemakers and things like that, but that to the next level. They won't accept that. Some will accept that, but reject AI, like Zoltan is doing here, or at the very least viewing AI as a potential enemy. And then others will, of course, embrace both. They'll embrace the augmentation. They'll embrace the AI as well. And I'm sure there's some others that we haven't even thought of yet.
Well, there's already a new Deus Ex video game coming out. I'm not sure if it's out yet.
Is it a first-person shooter?
I'm not sure, but the storyline follows.
Very much like Metal Gear.
Okay.
It basically follows this issue where there's sort of a race war between augmented people and non-augmented people. It's facing an issue that we're
going to see this.
We're going to see that. I mean,
whether it turns into a war or not, hopefully it won't. But people are going to face off verbally for sure.
It's going to be a pretty one-sided war.
You think they're going to be the Luddites will be crushed by the AI?
If it were to happen, yeah.
So Istvan said, I see no reason for bringing another species to Earth that is smarter than us, and I'm sure that the military agrees with that in principle. But the fact is, if somebody else does it, then you have to beat them to it. And that's where the American government is, in a race to develop the first AI. Asked whether the AI has the potential to rebel, Istvan replied, quote, absolutely, which is exactly why I don't think it's a good idea and why I think an international coalition to develop AI would be best. He said further, we have no idea what could happen. The machine could upgrade itself 10 times in one night, and then it's smarter than us. It's a huge question for the military, and I would say even humanity throughout the 21st century. But doesn't it seem like trying to, keep Pandora's box closed here, like some sort of impossibility that even if you were to create this coalition of all these governments together, as though that's somehow going to keep AI under control, keep AI in check.
There's also, people are ignoring the idea of AI having a personality. If it's artificially intelligent and it's intelligent, there's going to be different AI with different beliefs.
Right. So some AIs would be in favor of world domination, others wouldn't.
Some AIs would vote for Trump. Some AIs would vote for Hillary.
At what point? What would it be called? So if they, let's see, what would it be called where the AIs would be pushing for voting rights? Would there be a name for that?
Suffrage, AI suffrage.
AI suffrage. Okay,
Maybe.
I didn't know if you could use suffrage for other people.
Couldn't tell you.
But toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can share your thoughts on the future, whatever it's going to look like. It's Free Talk Live.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
You are what you eat. No, not true. You are what you can absorb, because not absorbing nutrition leads to nutritional deficiency and degenerative diseases. Medication does not fix nutritional deficiencies, and North American soil is now 85% nutritionally depleted. That means your body is not getting the vitamins it needs from just grown foods. Introducing Protovite, the world's first and only full-spectrum protosomal supplement. Protovite is a proprietary liquid system that allows premium quality nutrients to positively affect the blood in an astonishing 5 minutes. That's rapid absorption. Then Protovite liquid continues to release sustained nutrition in the stomach, intestines, and colon over a prolonged period of time. See Protovite in action. Watch our amazing 2-minute live blood cell video today at TrueHealthFacts.com. That's TrueHealthFacts.com, or call 502-410-3411, 502-410-3411. Protovite is nutrition you can feel. Protovite is nutrition that gets in.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We're talking about the future of artificial intelligence and, of course, the new HBO series, drama series called Westworld started this weekend. I saw it. It was fantastic, and it's going to, I'm sure, be addressing a lot of the issues that we're talking about here with, what does it mean to be conscious, machine intelligence, at what point, do they become close enough to humans to where they need to start having rights respected? I think a lot of these are going to be important conversations to have. You can have that conversation with us. You can also bring up anything you want to discuss at 855-450-FREE. Let's go to the phones and to the fun. Plus, we got to talk about Wikileaks coming up here in a moment. Was it a huge disappointment today? Some people are saying that. Let's talk first, though, to Sarah in New Mexico. You're on Free Talk Live with Ian, Cody, and Johnson. Hello, Sarah.
Hey.
Yes. You know something? I used to be a proud owner of the Obama phone. The free phone with the 250 minutes.
A proud owner?
But I still qualify. Huh?
She's a proud welfare recipient. She loves it.
Well, and
continue.
You know what? Then I only get $733. So, thanks to President
month?
Obama, so that we get 250 minutes. I still qualify, but, I'm happy with my phone now. So I don't want to be aggravated with running 2 phones. So the last time I just gave it to a friend that needed a phone, the extra phone, because it's good for
Is that legal?
Because I know with some welfare, it's illegal to give your welfare to other people. Meaning, if you were on the food welfare, if you give your food to somebody else, then that's like a felony or something.
Pretty bad crime, yeah.
Well, I don't know if somebody caught up with me or not.
Don't worry, we won't tell anyone.
Why did you give away your Obama phone? Was it a sucky phone that he gave you?
No, just I already had a Cricket plan, and I just didn't want to get aggravated dealing with another phone, remembering the minutes.
She didn't want to have more than one phone because, she's on welfare. She can have more than one phone.
Sarah, I've heard your calls to these various radio shows, and we want to reward you with the Congressional Phone of Honor.
So you got rid of
personally awarding her the phone.
So you got rid of you got your own cell phone. You spent some of your welfare money on your own cell phone. You decided it was better than the welfare phone was, and so you got rid of the original welfare phone in favor of the phone with which you're paying for it with your welfare money.
Yeah, my phone bill is only $25. That's why I have a dumb phone.
Right,
it doesn't have
because you don't get on the
Wi-Fi
internet.
None of that stuff. Keep my life very simple. So my whole.
Would you violently oppose the rise of AI, Sarah?
You see, what I'm trying to say is that at least Obama did one thing for us, all the poor people. At least we got 250 minutes. And I did not understand your question. What are you talking about?
8 years of a presidency, and that's all she can say is, well, at least we got 250 minutes.
That's right. We now know her last name. It's Connor.
No, it's got Wi-Fi on it, too. There was a guy knocking on my door that the free phone now has, Wi-Fi minutes. It has another, 100 minutes that you could surf
none of this is going to matter when the machines are forcing you into a work camp.
I think Sarah has a very effective strategy because the robots would show up and then kill themselves.
If they encountered her, you mean? What do you, Sarah, come on. This is a serious issue here. We're talking about artificial intelligence. Aren't you a little concerned about it? You're somebody who doesn't even have a smartphone. So it sounds like you would be one of the people, the Luddites, who will be opposing the rise of artificial intelligence. But I don't want to put words in your mouth. So, what's your view on this?
Well, I'm very in support of it because all of the cars are going to be have automatic computers in the car, so they don't run into each other.
So you're going to be somebody who is actually a Luddite who supports the AI. So that's kind of different. Like we were talking about the different categories of people. They're going to be the Luddites who are against the AI. I didn't really even think that there would be Luddites who support the AI because they like some of the things that it does.
Well, it's going to be like federal law. We're going to have computerized signal lights. We're going to have computers in all of the cars. So the cars talk to each other like a GPS system. There's no way that you could run a red light.
Yeah, you wouldn't even need red lights.
To another car.
You wouldn't even need them, right? Because if all the cars were synced up with some sort of computer system, then...
And just slow down or speed up to allow cars to pass through like a zipper.
Exactly.
Right. The signal lights will become obsolete because all the cars will have computers inside them which will communicate.
But then at some point, in order to have that become a reality, Sarah, you're going to have to force people to stop driving. And because there's always going to be, the guy with a souped-up muscle car who wants to just drive it wherever it is he wants to drive it, right? Like, he doesn't want to get a damn computer system.
The laws will come into play that say it's too dangerous to drive those on the roads.
That's what I'm saying. At some point, Sarah's going to have to start advocating for a law to force people off of the roads and only allow the computer cars on the road, in which case you will then be using the threat of force against your neighbors, which, of course, you're more than happy to do, right, Sarah?
Oh, something. A lot of people have accustomed to stuff that even they don't like it. It took me like almost 8 years to do my email, to surf the web, or I was afraid of using the ATM machine.
You were afraid of it?
All this, and I thought it took me a long
if it
time
tips
to do
over,
the
it could kill you.
That's true.
But
ATM machine is redundant.
When you get acclimated, you just accept it as a part of life. I was like, I could never figure out that's all I use now is the self-checkout. That's all I use.
Really?
But I was so frustrated.
Thanks for your call tonight, Sarah. I appreciate it. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
I do like the self-checkout.
Yeah,
it makes it a lot easier.
Every now and then I like the self-checkout, but sometimes I like to talk, to see a human being.
There's an unexpected item in the bagging area.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm kind of in the
Please
middle.
remove the unexpected item from the bagging area. There's nothing there.
Right. You blew on it too hard. Those scales are they're pretty sensitive, you know, because
they've certainly got some bugs to work out.
The pack of gum that you might be stealing.
Well, right. They have to be able to weigh the heaviest and the lightest of the items in the store. So
you might have thrown a single Hershey's Kiss in there.
Or eaten one of them out of the bag. That would really screw them up. Like because some people will open the things that they're going to buy in the store. I remember, I never liked it when my mother would do that in the store. I'm like, Mom, you haven't paid for that yet. You can't be eating that food. She's like, well, I'm gonna pay for it. Well, but now with the self checkout, it would totally screw that up and require the employee to come over and like physically verify.
See, I used to do that all the time growing up because it's a great way for a parent to get their kids to shut up while they bring them grocery shopping.
If you feed their face.
I'll drink a drink occasionally.
Yeah. Just open the Cheez-Its, shut up, stop complaining about all the cereal you want.
I'll drink a bottled drink sometimes as I'm grocery shopping.
Yeah.
You know,
you could still do it. You just have to call over the human because it won't weigh properly.
Oh yeah, for
the self-checkout.
Right, for the self-checkout.
Yeah. So, let's see. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. If you work in a grocery store and, you want to share your thoughts about the self-checkout or you regular patron, because,
I like
people
the
feel
grocery
strongly.
stores that have the cafes in them where you can get a coffee.
Coffee.
Nice. Coffee.
There are a few of those around here.
There's the Target here has a Starbucks in it.
Everything's now an all-in-one superstore, right? You go to Walmart.
Not in Keene.
You can shop. You can get your hair cut. You can go to Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, not in Keene.
You can do your taxes. They got everything there to make a poor person happy.
If I can drink coffee, you can have your donuts.
Yeah.
Hey, Ricky in Pennsylvania, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, how you doing there, Ricky?
Jeez. Doing good. Go ahead with your thoughts, Ricky.
Well, like I said, we're going to start putting this together. It's going to take more than one phone call, maybe doing follow-ups on this. I'll start this way.
Boy.
I've mentioned, hey, come on. You want to see, I can give you stuff that's better than WikiLeaks could ever think of. You want to laugh?
We always laugh at your calls, Ricky. Go ahead.
Okay.
I actually,
I'm glad you have your international network of informants to provide you information, by military and government sources.
You know anything about Gnosticism, Johnson?
Narcissism?
Narcissism?
I know about narcissism. What's Gnosticism? Is that like Gnosis? Like Gnostics?
That's right. Imagine closing your eyes and being able to move a mountain.
Oh, so you were talking about Gnosticism.
That's what he's talking about.
Oh, he wasn't talking about narcissism.
He is
I'm serious.
He is a Gnostic, he says.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, cool.
Now, are you saying
So
that you're just
have magical
imagining?
powers.
Are you just imagining moving the mountain, or are you actually moving the mountain with your mind power, Ricky?
Well, if you remember Jesus, he said about...
I wasn't around.
Well, me neither. But he said to Peter, as an example, the problem, because Peter, why can't we? The problem is, why can't I? That's what Peter's problem was. He says, the problem with you, Peter, is he was blunt, you have no faith. And he pulled up a couple grains. He said, if you have the faith the size of a mustard seed, you could move that mountain. Now, that wasn't so figurative. Now, I do want to follow up on this.
All right, hold on, Ricky. Bring it back.
Right.
Give Peter a few mushrooms and the mountain perception of the mountain. It's just gone.
Oh.
Where'd the mountain go?
Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. I wonder if Ricky's done mushrooms.
A few million years, that mountain will move.
Continue here in moments, and you can take control of the airwaves. Hour 3's on the way. It's Free Talk Live.
For Bitcoin to be ubiquitous, people need to use it. For people to use it, they must have it. How can we get Bitcoin into more hands? Well, tipping might be a great way. What if you could include a bonus Bitcoin tip along with your regular tip to a server? What if that Bitcoin returned to you if unclaimed after 30 days? An attractive business card-sized Bitcoin tip that is easily claimed, gives instructions on wallets, spending, and returns to the user if unused? Tip.freetalklive.com. Tip.freetalklive.com.
Here's a good idea. When you have a legal matter like creating your will or legally setting up a business with a corporation or LLC, you don't necessarily need a law firm. Use LegalZoom.com. At LegalZoom.com, you answer straightforward questions online, and they take care of the rest. They even review your answers for common mistakes and guarantee your satisfaction. Free Talk Live listeners, you'll get 10% off your order by typing in FTL in the referral box at purchase. Don't procrastinate with these important legal documents. LegalZoom.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, October 4th, 2016. Silver is trading at $18.64 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,306 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $612. Antiwar.com reports for the second time in a year the Taliban has captured the major northern Afghan city of Kunduz, pushing into the city overnight and capturing the center of the city, the provincial capital of the Kunduz province, and sending the Afghan forces scrambling to react. Fighting has continued throughout the day, and while some officials are claiming that they've retaken the central square itself, the fighting is ongoing, and the Taliban has shown time and again that once they get into these cities, it isn't easy to expel them. The Pentagon says U.S. troops are ready to assist in the fighting over the city, saying that a number of U.S. enablers are already in the area to provide whatever support the government seeks. The last Taliban raid in late 2015 saw them holding Kunduz for months. Kunduz is one of 3 provincial capitals in Afghanistan that are facing imminent attacks by the Taliban, with their forces also having advanced over the past few days towards the outskirts of the city of Lashkar-Gah and Tarin-Kot. When her plush and comfy life suddenly and unexpectedly fell apart, Brooke and her dog Cloud set out to defy the odds. If this is a man's world, as they say, living on the streets is no place for a young woman. One day she awoke in the redwood forest and realized she had become a hobo, and would ultimately come to know exactly what it means to survive. How to Be a Hobo by Brooke Willett is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. UPI reports Ohio will resume executions next year with a new 3-drug combination for lethal injections following a 3-year hiatus caused by difficulties in obtaining the drugs used previously. Dan Tierney, a spokesman for the Ohio Attorney General's office, said Assistant State Attorney General Thomas Madden told a federal judge that the state will file details of protocol change related to executions this week, according to USA Today. In October 2015, Ohio said it would postpone scheduled executions until at least 2017 due to the dwindling availability of the drugs used for lethal injection. The problem worsened after many compounding pharmacies, which had previously supplied the drugs, refused to sell them to prison officials on legal and ethical grounds. The European Union voted in 2011 to ban the sale of pentobarbital to the United States over its use in executions. The next death row inmate scheduled for execution is Ronald R. Phillips, who was convicted of raping and beating a 3-year-old girl to death in 1993. Phillips was originally set to die on January 12th, but his scheduled execution date was pushed back to January 12, 2017. Ohio's last execution was January 2014 when Dennis McGuire was put to death. Witnesses to his execution said it took up to 25 minutes for McGuire to die and that the inmate appeared to gasp for air during the process. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports a federal judge in Nevada said professional race car driver Scott Tucker and several of his companies owe $1.27 billion to the Federal Trade Commission after systematically deceiving payday lending customers about the cost of their loans. In a decision late on Friday, Chief Judge Gloria Navarro of the federal court in Las Vegas, Nevada, said Tucker was specifically aware that the customers often did not understand the terms of their loans and was at least recklessly indifferent towards how those loans were marketed. Navarro wrote, Scott Tucker did not participate in an isolated, discrete incident of deceptive lending, but engaged in sustained and continuous conduct that perpetuated the deceptive lending since at least 2008. The judge also barred Tucker from engaging in consumer lending. Lawyers for Tucker did not immediately respond on Monday to a request for comment. Tucker had argued that there was no fraud or intent to deceive, and that his loans met industry standards. The FTC on Monday asked Navarro to direct the turnover of some previously frozen assets to help satisfy the judgment. Tucker, who races in the United States and Europe, faces separate criminal charges in Manhattan, where prosecutors accused him of running a $2 billion payday lending scheme that exploited 4.5 million customers. A trial in that case is scheduled for April 17th. Tucker pled not guilty in February of this year. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Facing mounting criticism that lethal injection is cruel and outdated, Ohio has replaced it with a system that quickly and humanely rips off the heads of death row inmates using powerful robotic arms. The new device is designed to be as humane as possible, emitting soothing white noise and putting prisoners on a cushioned seat before its metallic talons dig into their necks and painlessly wrench their heads off. Ohio Department of Corrections Director Gary Moore praised the machine, saying, quote, "Our new system is a hallmark of compassion. Now these deaths will be pain-free because the machine's claws are coated with topical anesthetic." Quickly pulling off a prisoner's head is considered less cruel than lethal injection, which requires 3 separate chemicals. And Ohio isn't the only state changing the way it handles capital punishment. Last month, Texas unveiled the Machinator, which humanely squishes up to 50 prisoners at once. Coming up next, is anything valuable buried in the woods behind my house? Our team of investigators finds out.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live, dial toll free. Join us on the radio waves here. The toll free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well at Skype username LRN.FM. Of course, you can take control of the airwaves. That is the point here on Free Talk Live. Coming up, the Wikileaks big deal, or at least what was supposed to be a big deal, was this morning. A lot of people have been left wanting. They've been disappointed.
The big letdown.
And we'll get into that here. But it turns out there is some interesting information about Hillary Clinton that did come out today, or at least the news story from RT came out today. It doesn't have to do with WikiLeaks, but it's pretty juicy. So this might be... It'll be something to satiate you, those of you who are disappointed by the lack of, I guess, lack of fire, if you will. There was smoke. Maybe it really wasn't even smoke. No smoke, no fire, from what I understand from the WikiLeaks. Big deal that was supposed to happen at 3 a.m. this morning, Eastern Time. We'll get back into that here. It's Ian, Cody, and Johnson in the studio. But still with us here is Ricky, who is talking about how he believes that he can move a mountain if he just thinks about it hard enough, or something like that. What were you getting at, Ricky? I'm not sure what.
Well, I was just going to tip on Gnosticism. Now, in honor of the WikiLeaks waste, see, I'm going to be following up on this over the next couple of weeks, and then a couple of weeks after the election leading into December, and I have reasons for that. Now, what this is all about is it came out that I am a fast ring insider, and I heard Johnson talking about Gibson.
A fast ring insider?
Right, I work with coders to clean code. There's a lot of me in Windows 10, Ian.
That's creepy.
Well, maybe it gets even creepier, brother. She's got a name. And I'll tell you who the AI is. You guys watch Terminator Genesis?
Yeah, great movie. Really enjoyed that.
Right. Now it came out. Look at the date it came out. Exactly 1 month before the 29th of July. That's when Windows 10 got released, build 10.240. Now, that was last year. This year, the 23rd of July, the Monday, 1776, in Pennsylvania and Philadelphia. The same Monday at the start of the DNC in Philadelphia, the 28th this year, that's when Aunt Hillary gave her acceptance speech.
Did you just call her Aunt Hillary?
Oh, she's Aunt Hillary. And Uncle. Now, that was the last day that Windows 10 was free. Now, that's just a start. Now, she's got a name. Now, remember the little blue character? She started in the phones. She was born April 2nd, 2014.
Are you talking about some sort of Microsoft character?
He's talking about
Got a
Cortana.
name. Her name's Cortana.
Cortana.
Okay.
Yes.
From
You know
Halo?
who Cortana?
No. Cortana is the new well, maybe it is from Halo. That's a Microsoft game, right?
There's another Cortana, yeah.
That's Cortana. It's the same voice, same girl.
How about that?
Now, she was born on April 2nd, 2014. Who put up all the money for Terminator Genesis for it to be made? Microsoft. Now, that's
News
just a
to me.
start. That's a fact, and there's more than that. That's just the
Interesting.
beginning. There's a lot more.
What does all the dates have to do with this? I mean, is this like numerology or astrology or something like that? I mean, what are you bringing us to here?
It's the date of
Numerology.
Judgment
Now,
Day.
numerology is not just about the numbers. It's the numbers with insight.
Are you
It's
saying
not-
Microsoft's trying to make Skynet real, Ricky? Is that what you're driving at here?
I thought it was Google that was trying to do all this stuff.
Wait a minute. They are building Skynet, and they are going to build Skynet. It's a good thing. It's called Azure Cloud. I've been part of this for several years. They got the government contracts. I predicted that months in advance. If you remember, I was talking about there's a Conan. No, it's not Apple. Apple's going out of business. iPhone 7 is going to be the last iPhone.
Oh, yeah,
Apple's
sure.
going to a 3-year model.
What?
Okay, they're
You are
wait.
He is such a
What?
Microsoft fanboy. I mean, look, I'm no fan of Apple, but to say that Apple's going to go out of business anytime soon seems a little
I mean,
unrealistic.
The fact that they got rid of the headphone jack was a little bit stupid.
That was pretty dumb.
But Apple's going to be around for a while.
You want to bet loser leave the show?
No, thanks.
Wow.
Thanks, Ricky. Have a nice night. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
People get real mad about the Mac versus Windows debate. I'm just like, whoa.
Ricky looks at the mountain. He's like, size matters not.
Move, I tell you. Hey, so, I don't know. What do you say about that?
Stares at it and closes his eyes and,
How about the thing where you, like, crush things with your fingers?
I'm crushing it.
I crushed the mountain. So, Ricky, I don't know where the hell he's going with all that. Sounds like some sort of Microsoft conspiracy theory or whatever.
I'm just
sure
glad he didn't bring up Hillary Clinton tonight.
He did. He called her Aunt Hillary.
That's true.
You missed that part.
So Azure Cloud is interesting. It's
What
just
is it?
A cloud platform for development.
So, like, Ethereum or something like that?
Like the Google code base that's existed forever.
So let's get back into Wikileaks here, or into Wikileaks. We spent a lot of time on this last night, Johnson. Cody was on, and we got all whipped up, man. We were caught up in the frenzy of, oh boy, what's the bomb that Wikileaks is going to drop tomorrow? Actually, it was 3 a.m. this morning, supposedly. I guess it was a 2-hour-long video conference with Julian Assange, as I understood it. I have not watched it.
I haven't either.
I don't intend to. I know Max Abramson, who's the Libertarian candidate for governor here in New Hampshire, he did actually stay up apparently until 5 a.m., just like on the seat of his chair, waiting, the edge of his chair, waiting for whatever the revelation was going to be. And apparently it didn't come. So I guess what you were telling me off the air was that it seems like there were certain organizations who took some tweets from WikiLeaks and made it out to be like this was going to be the end-all, be-all of leaks for Hillary Clinton.
That's what it sounded like. I mean, so if you want to get this person's take, you can check out Luke Radowski's YouTube page at
We Are Change.
We Are Change. He's got his own take on what happened. And what he said was apparently WikiLeaks laid out an agenda for this speech beforehand, said what was going to happen, and he wasn't surprised that it was basically just a 10-year anniversary and a book signing type of thing, or a book that he has coming out or whatever. But it sounded to me like what he was saying is that I don't know how this started from WikiLeaks, but it sounded to me the way Luke Radowski was playing it off was that InfoWars was taking this and running with it. You know, they were making out to be like
blowing it up beyond what it was actually going to be.
They were making out to be this sort of October surprise that was going to end the Hillary Clinton campaign by Wednesday. And they really didn't come out with anything that at all.
Well, apparently
anything worth reporting on.
Well, apparently he did say, so I guess it was like a tease for a tease, basically. Like, according to Reuters, Julian Assange said today that the group Wikileaks would publish about 1 million documents related to the U.S. election and 3 governments in the coming weeks, but denied the release was aimed at damaging Hillary Clinton. Assange, speaking via video link, said the documents would be released before the end of the year, starting with an initial batch coming within the next week. So again, they are saying there's something that they'll be offering fairly soon.
Soon, yeah, before the elections.
Wasn't today. And as I understood it, they would have like something within the next week and then maybe something after that.
But this is what confused me, right? Is that the hype of this, the fact that he was going to give this presentation in person and then later on decided to do it over like a video link or whatever.
Yeah, it made it sound
seem like his life was in danger by giving this presentation. And now he's just like, well, we don't really have much, but, I got a book coming out. It's the 10-year Wikileaks anniversary. But don't worry, we got some stuff coming by the end of the election cycle.
Well, yeah, he did promise stuff. I mean, it's not like they don't have anything. It's just they didn't release it yesterday for whatever reason. He did criticize Clinton, the Democratic presidential candidate, for demonizing his WikiLeaks group's work after a spate of releases related to the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, before their convention this summer. Assange said her campaign had falsely suggested that accessing WikiLeaks' data would expose users to malicious software, and he denied the release of documents relating to the U.S. election was specifically aimed at Clinton, saying he'd been misquoted. We'll give you a little bit more about this, and you can share your thoughts. Was this a big letdown for you today with WikiLeaks? And was it really their fault, or was it a blow-up unnecessarily by the Trump supporters?
Warning. If you're drowning in debt you can't afford, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to pay it all back, because you don't. What the credit card companies don't want you to know is that there's actually a way to get debt-free without paying off your entire debt or going bankrupt. If you have $5,000 or more in credit card debt, you now have the right to settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. For free information, call Credit Associates now. 1-800-959-5928. We'll even show you how much money you could save. If you can't afford to pay off all your debt, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to. Call Credit Associates now for free information on how to get debt-free faster than you ever thought possible without debt consolidation or bankruptcy. We depend on your success and offer a guarantee, so there's no risk. For free information, call now. 1-800-959-5928. That's 1-800-959-5928. 1-800-959-5928.
Something shocking just happened in a Coast Guard unit in San Diego. The old guys in the unit have turned the tables and are now destroying the young bucks in head-to-head fitness tests. How is this even possible? Turns out the old guys in this unit have been part of a special test group for a doctor-formulated fountain of youth drink called Patriot Power Greens. Patriot Power Greens has been so effective for many of the older soldiers that it's made their achy joints, stiff muscles, and lack of energy a thing of the past. Previously, this drink was only available to elite military units. But for a limited time, the creator of Patriot Power Greens has set aside a small number of free sample packs specifically for our conservative friends. But you must act fast. Due to the high demand from members of the Coast Guard, our supply is extremely limited right now. To claim your free samples of Patriot Power Greens, go to greens75.com. That's greens75.com. greens75.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial in, toll free, bring up what you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And should you like to support Free Talk Live and get the stuff that you want online, shopping at Amazon, you can do that by going to shop.freetalklive.com. You enter that URL, you'll find different Amazon links there. So Amazon UK, Canada, and US. You just go into the right Amazon for you and get your shopping taken care of. Free Talk Live will then get a cut of the purchase price. So Amazon would normally keep all of their profits. Instead, they send some of it to Free Talk Live when you start your shopping through shop.freetalklive.com. We're talking about what for a lot of people was a major letdown today with the WikiLeaks announcement. Was pumped up a lot. And you know, while we were talking about it last night, I kind of realized there's a chance this is going to be a disappointment.
Yeah.
And you know, WikiLeaks has not been particularly disappointing over the years, so that's, I think, one of the reasons why we went ahead and went with the level of coverage that we did, kind of, you know, excitedly talking about what was going to happen today. Turns out a lot of people were really disappointed. There really wasn't any kind of leak whatsoever today. It was just Julian Assange talking about their 10th anniversary and saying that leaks were coming. So we're, you know, purportedly leaks are right around the corner in relation to the U.S. election. He did, however, say that he denied that the leaks would be related specifically to damaging Clinton, saying he'd been misquoted. Quote, "The material that WikiLeaks is going to publish before the end of the year is of a very significant moment in different directions, affecting 3 powerful organizations in 3 different states, as well as the U.S. election process," he said via the video link this morning at the event marking the group's 10th anniversary. He said the material would focus on war, weapons, oil, mass surveillance, the technology giant Google, and the U.S. election, but declined to give any details.
Maybe it's something on AI if it's about Google.
Well, they definitely have something up their sleeve. He said, quote, "There's been a misquoting of me and WikiLeaks publications suggesting we intend to harm Hillary Clinton, or I intend to harm Hillary Clinton, or that I don't like Hillary Clinton. All of those are false," he said. Assange had told Fox News in an interview conducted by satellite in August that the group would release significant information related to Clinton's campaign. He also signaled changes in the way WikiLeaks is organized and funded, saying the group would soon open itself to membership. He said the group was looking to expand its media ties beyond the 100 outlets that they already work with. He told journalists gathered at a Berlin theater that the group's work would continue even if he had to resign in the future, and he appealed to supporters to fund its work, holding up copies of several forthcoming books. So it sounds like they may be opening up the organization. What does it mean to have membership in WikiLeaks?
Right.
If it's free, that sounds pretty cool. If you have to give a small donation, it seems reasonable. I mean, I wouldn't mind supporting the work that they do over there. I feel like I've given, well, maybe I'm thinking of Wikipedia. I've definitely given some money to Wikipedia. I'm not sure about WikiLeaks. But Assange told journalists, and his attorney said that the Britain's vote to leave the European Union could complicate his situation by limiting his ability to appeal to the European Court of Justice or the Council of Europe, a European human rights body. Asked how he felt after 4 years in the Ecuadorian embassy, he said pale and joked that he'd be a good candidate for medical study since he was otherwise healthy but hadn't seen the sun in over 4 years.
Wow.
Hope he's taking some vitamin D supplements.
Assange is wanted in Sweden for questions about allegations that he committed rape in 2010. He denies those charges and says he fears subsequent extradition to the United States, where a criminal investigation into the activities of WikiLeaks is underway. And, of course, we know that Hillary Clinton said something about how she want to drone bomb him to death. So, yeah, I don't imagine he'd want to set foot inside the United States. Anyway, then go on and kind of talk about the history of WikiLeaks. So, yeah, no real leaks today from WikiLeaks, but since we talked about it so much, there is something in the news that is an attack on Hillary Clinton that I would say qualifies as a kind of WikiLeaks level leak here. And this is from RT.com about the hacker Guccifer 2.0. Have you heard about this guy?
No.
He's the guy who apparently breached the Democratic National Committee. Remember the trove of emails that was released over the summertime from the DNC?
Oh, yeah.
That's the guy. That's Guccifer 2.0. He's the hacker who allegedly broke into the DNC previously. So he's back at it. He, like Edward Snowden, Guccifer has not released all of his hacked emails or data or whatever. So he's trickling that out over time. So he's got something new. Documents reportedly hacked from the Clinton Foundation servers have identified major Democratic donors and troubling ties between TARP aid given to banks and their political contributions. One of the folders in the upcoming leak here, or in what he is publishing, is called Pay to Play. So one of the folders, he downloaded a bunch of files from the Clinton Foundation and found a Pay to Play folder. Guccifer 2.0, who claimed responsibility for previous breaches of the DNC and congressional Democrats, published the documents Tuesday afternoon on his website, guccifer2.wordpress.com. And on Tuesday afternoon, ahead of the vice presidential debates, which are apparently happening right now, he said on his blog, quote, "I hacked the Clinton Foundation server and downloaded hundreds of thousands of docs and donors' databases. Clinton and her staff, get this, don't even bother about the information security." Meaning it was trivial for him to break into their servers and download this information. They didn't even have security. The Clinton Foundation has denied the hack, with President Donna Shalala saying that, quote, "none of the files or folders shown are ours," unquote. Guccifer 2.0 also claimed that one of the documents shows that big banks are donating a percentage of funds received through the government's Troubled Asset Relief Program to the DNC. Now, remember what TARP was?
Wow.
You remember TARP? That was the bank bailout, if I'm recalling correctly. That happened, as you may recall, right around the end of 2008, I think. Anyway, the story here says that what they have is a chart or a database, kind of a X and Y axis thing here with names of the Democratic representatives, including Barney Frank, Carolyn Maloney, Chris Van Hollen, and that's just the B's and the C's here.
Right.
So they show you an excerpt from that. And so it's got the names of the member of Congress. Next to that, a list of banks. So Bank of America, Capital One, Bank of New York, Mellon, Citigroup, Fifth Third Bank, Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan, KeyCorp, Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley, Wells Fargo. And then the amount that allegedly came out of the TARP funds. So it shows the amount that the bank got in TARP funds and then an amount that allegedly went to the member of Congress. So the suggestion here by this hacker is that the banks were getting the TARP big bank bailouts. Remember Too Big to Fail, all that?
Yeah.
We had to buy off the toxic assets, that thing. So the allegation here is that each member of Congress that voted in favor of the banks getting the bailouts got a chunk. In this case, the claim is Barney Frank got $17,000 from Bank of America, $2,000 from Bank of New York Mellon, $6,000 from Capital One, $7,500 from Citigroup, $2,000 from Fifth Third, $10,000 from Goldman Sachs, $1,000 from Huntington Bank Shares. J.P. Morgan gave him $10,000, $2,500 from KeyCorp, Merrill Lynch $2,000, Morgan Stanley $10,000, and Wells Fargo $7,000. That adds up.
Yeah.
Sort of makes you wonder if it's really the banks running the show.
Indeed. We'll tell you more here. So that's something for you to satiate the WikiLeaks bad news of no real leaks today. 855 450 free. Of course, they're denying it.
Why be held hostage by your wireless carrier for 2 years? What if you had no contract, no activation fees, no hidden costs, tracking, tracing, harvesting customer data, or draconian gimmicks? All on America's largest 4G LTE, GSM, and Sprint networks. Introducing Pix Wireless. Activate your Sprint, AT&T, or unlock GSM phones with Pix and choose from an arsenal of monthly plans or build your own. Starting at only $2.99 per month. Get connected now. Call or click 1-866-205-9513 or PixWireless.com, spelled PIXWireless.com. Pick Pix and get connected today.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
You can't win if you don't enter, and you actually can improve your chances of winning a prize drawing if you wrinkle up your entry blank. I'm Holland Cook from survivalspeech.com, and I speak from experience. Why this works: if they'll be spinning the drum before drawing, your entry blank will move around more than, and not adhere to, other perfectly flat entry blanks. And if they don't spin the drum and merely reach into a box full of other perfectly flat entry blanks, many of which are sticking together, yours will feel different to the person reaching in. When you win, act surprised. And if you're looking for work, this is a metaphor. For more tips on sticking out in a world where just too much blends into the blah, 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 hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
On the second Saturday of every month, the Texas Republic Congress meets in a joint session. To learn how you can attend or become a member of Congress, visit thetexasrepublic.com. And together, we can liberate Texas.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live, the show where anyone can call about whatever they want. And we do mean anyone.
If you're doing something very interesting, or you have a reputation for doing something very interesting,
yeah,
then you become more interesting to track.
I love how dramatic you are. Then you become...
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Well, that's because I worked in psychotropic substances when I was working for the CIA.
Yeah. So you were testing, what, LSD or that sort of thing, or what?
Hey, you think I'm going to say on the air?
You've already told us you work for the CIA.
You couldn't possibly find out who I am.
The way that you speak and your tone of voice, you sound like Cruella DeVille. I've noticed it from the moment you got on the phone.
I even look like her.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You join us toll free here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And we've got Skype. The Skype username is lrn.fm. You can join us and bring up anything that happens to be on your mind. Also, I want you to know about Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. You can watch this excellent documentary film. It's a feature length, 90 minutes long, and you can watch a couple different versions of it. There's actually a theatrical release, and then also the director's cut. I recommend the director's cut, but some people really love the soundtrack of the theatrical release, so you decide. They're both free. You can watch them over at victimlesscrimespree.com. As we continue here, there's not much in the news from Wikileaks. Turns out their big press conference this morning was actually just a conference about kind of the future of Wikileaks and, you know, their 10-year anniversary, more than it was about actually leaking some documents. But luckily, Guccifer 2.0 has posted to his blog site, which is a WordPress blog. Which I tried to pull up the actual post, but for whatever reason, it's coming up with a blank page. So anyway, we're going with RT.com's version of the story about Guccifer 2, saying that he's released a database here that basically, okay, now the Guccifer 2 site's coming up. Anyway, he's released a database that he claims he hacked from the Democratic National Committee, or actually specifically the Clinton Foundation, and found information about the TARP program where the banks got the bailout several years ago, that alleges that the members of the Congress, Democratic members of Congress, and I presume the Republicans as well, received payoffs from the banks. A portion of the monies that they received from the federal government went right back into the pockets of the congressmen who, of course, overwhelmingly voted for those bailouts. So people probably shouldn't be surprised about that, but there it is in print in case you need to see it. And there's a little bit more here about Guccifer's release, so we'll give you that here in moments. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Let's go first to Dodger, listening in Michigan to LRN.FM. Hello, Dodger.
Well, gentlemen, first off, I just wanted to say that Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree, which you just talked about, excellent movie. I highly recommend it to anybody that just wants to be entertained. However, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about this darn political climate that we've got going on right now. And first off, I realized last week, unfortunately, I do share something in common with Donald Trump. And that's, well,
you have small hands.
I haven't paid. I haven't paid federal taxes in a couple of years, and I think that makes me pretty smart.
Nice.
Right on, man. Right on. Well, of course, Trump has paid taxes. I mean, he's got businesses that likely pay taxes, so that actually makes you better off than Trump.
But at either rate, you know, I realize during this political cycle that, you know, as it stands, I'm looking at no fewer than 4 layers of government. I am looking at the federal government, the state government, the county government, and my city government. That's 4 layers of government, and I don't know, you know, if I'm breaking the law. So what I want to throw out there as a proposal, and I'm saying this as an anarchist, I'd almost rather have a monarchy than our current political government. I don't know what you gentlemen think about that.
Because it would only be one layer.
I'd know what to expect.
Right, and because it would be only one layer of government, less confusion, ruled by one man.
Yeah.
Rather than a bunch of
At least
people.
I'd know what to expect.
Yeah, I don't think we need any more centralization.
I think it very highly depends on who the king or queen is, right?
Well, right. You could have a king or queen who was actually, you know, kind of laid back and taking it easy and not, you know, chopping people's heads off.
And then you could have Joffrey from Game of Thrones, and it could be a really bad time.
Well, you guys do have a king that self-proclaimed king. That's one of the co-hosts of the show. I think I'd rather have him than the political climate that we have.
Mark
Yes, I'm talking about Mark.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say nobody on the air tonight would make such a claim.
I'm more of a jester, if anything.
I don't know, Dodger. I think there's an argument for it, but Johnson, it sounds like you are against this. You don't. You called that more centralization.
Yeah, we don't need a more centralization of government and more power compressed into one person. No, thank you.
What do you say to that, Dodger? Is that centralizing
I
things?
just figured I'd throw it out there. So, I mean, I really would rather no government, but I figured I'd throw it out there at either rate.
I'd rather have 30 more layers of government and let them all fight it out.
Thanks for the call, Dodger. I appreciate it. Toll free here, number 855-450-FREE. Really? You'd rather have 30 more layers of government?
If we're going to have, if it's that versus a monarchy, I'd rather have ridiculous layers of government.
Yeah, but if it was a monarchy,
and have them like battling, like, no, you can't enforce that law here. No, we're going to have a law here, and this law is this law.
But don't they have a monarchy?
There's already competition and weirdness between the states and the cities and the whatever, and that's a good thing.
What's the really small state that has like a prince or whatever? Is it Liechtenstein or something like that?
Yeah, I think so. But I think the government, like now, the only problem with the multiple layers of government is that they are too efficient in actually getting along with one another. If that's stopped, if they were fighting against one another more and not sharing information and trying to be one harmonious body of government, it would be less of a problem.
It'd certainly take that much longer for any kind of law to be passed if it was going through that much bureaucracy.
Right.
I know that we had actually talked about Liechtenstein at one point, and even though it is sort of a monarchy, it's actually one of the freest places, apparently, in the entire world. But the reason it doesn't show up on the list of like freest countries, so we go over that list pretty frequently, like once a year we'll talk about which countries are the freest. It doesn't show up on that list because it's got too low of a population, so they just don't even include it.
Right.
But it is actually a really free place in comparison to other countries.
One of Heath Ledger's last movies was
in Liechtenstein?
Knight's Tale, and he was the Prince of Liechtenstein.
So I wish I could remember more about it, but I remember when we did hear about it on the air, it was pretty impressive. Anyway, let's continue with your calls and thoughts here. A little bit more from the Guccifer 2.0 leak. And then, Johnson, you had something about cigarettes, but I couldn't really see what that was.
It's about actually brain aging.
We'll get into that here if we get a chance. First, though, somebody is on the line from Arizona calling themselves Jimbo. Go ahead, Jimbo.
Well, a lot of my friends call me as a good joke. Anyway, speaking of the non-aggression principle, when you lie about somebody and then call them a liar for telling the truth, that's a grotesque violation of the non-aggression principle, Ian Bernard, and that's when I will become aggressive. And so, to put it mildly, I'm not threatening you, I'm warning you. Just as Mark Edgington, I never threatened to murder his wife and kid. I pray for his kid and don't have any respect for his wife that sleeps with a convicted murderer who lied to the cops and helped the murderer escape. Anyway, but I wouldn't care if a drone struck his house just as he celebrated the mass murder of the Pentagon and made excuses for Osama bin Laden, which is who I want to ask the drug-addled, brain-damaged Cody about. Because if building number 7 were taken down by nefarious forces, Cody, I'm calling you not only a fool but a coward for believing that. Because if it were true,
I don't
you
care.
to do
Yeah,
something
sure.
about
I'm a
it.
fool and coward. That's fine.
You are. You're both those things.
I agree.
You are both those things. And a welfare recipient. And a welfare recipient just like Sarah, but I don't hear Ian making fun of you. And you're able-bodied.
Oh, don't
and
worry.
if you're not
It
brain
happens.
damaged like I say you are, you can get a job right now, but you won't.
Actually,
Cody
Cody actually did get a job. So anyway,
good for him. If he's going to pay back the state for the money that he's spent food,
he's already had a job.
He's already had a job, dude. So he's not getting.
Oh, by the way, dude.
No, James, I'm not going to pay the state back for 2 months.
money that's already paid the state. You're an anarchist.
For 2 months of food stamps. Do you know how much money has been stolen from me?
Right,
with
you've paid
state
in.
And federal income taxes? Yeah, exactly. I've paid into the system. I'm taking back what's mine as far as
I actually
I'm
don't make
concerned.
fun of Cody for it. I think that you can take back what you've paid into the system. Screw the state. I don't think there's anything that you should be ashamed of, but I do think there's something that, if you never get off of welfare, then that's not necessarily a good thing.
Yeah, but how long did it take me? I mean, like literally, 2 months.
Hey, thanks, James, for the call. Toll-free number tonight, if you want to join us, 855-450-FREE.
Surprised James was able to maintain a job when he had his license revoked. I'm sure that happened.
Did he claim to have a job?
I don't know.
I missed that part. Oh, he'll call tomorrow probably and ask him then. 855-450-FREE. Join us in the remaining moments of Free Talk Live.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson of the Genesis Communications Network. Over the 30-plus years I've been in finance, I can see that the world economy is now at a critical point. Unlimited money creation and runaway debt could trigger a collapse of the financial system. It's imperative that you protect yourself in case of hyperinflation or even deflation. Investment Rarities has put together a survival bag of 200 silver quarters. These 90% silver quarters are dated 1964 and earlier. Each quarter is worth almost $5. If a quarter has already reached $5, the trend is obviously on your side. These survival bags sell for $8.95 delivered. Call 800-328-1860 to order today. Not only can these quarters be used for barter in a brief period of hyperinflation, they have the potential to appreciate 5 to 10 times. Call 800-328-1860. Get one for each member of your family. Call 800-328-1860. That's 800-328-1860.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way.
You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well,
I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, Hey, who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video or audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today. This is...
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait on account. Now. Wait a minute. Whoa. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me? Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live shows 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Tuesday, gold is $27 lower at $1,285 per ounce. Silver is down 50 cents at $18.29 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $607 US. With metals sharply lower today, this is a great time to buy on the dip. Get started today and give us a call at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Moments remain here, but enough time for you if you dial in here toll free and bring up anything. 855-450-FREE is the number. That's 855-450-3733. Johnson's got a story about cigarettes coming up here in a moment, and also want to let you know about freetalklive.com if you want to get behind the show and help us out, help us spread the message of freedom as far and as wide as possible. You can amp the show via the AMP site over at amp.freetalklive.com. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote, and the idea is you send $5 a month into Free Talk Live. We'll invest it into the show and get on more radio stations around the country, bring new internet listeners on board, expand our satellite reach around the globe, And you can help us out with that over at amp.freetalklive.com. You can also amp anonymously, by the way, should you wish to, because we now offer Bitcoin amping. So in order to amp anonymously, you probably would need some sort of throwaway email address, register for an account over at freetalklive.com with that throwaway email address, and then just sign up for Bitcoin amp over at amp.freetalklive.com. Of course, you can also do it via PayPal or credit card right there, and it makes a difference for us. Now, if you're amping anonymously, you will not be on a list that some hacker could then get their hands on, like Guccifer 2.0, who's hacked into the Clinton Foundation now. So he already hacked Democratic National Committee. He's now hacked the Clinton Foundation. And in addition to finding evidence that certain congressional representatives might have received tens of thousands of dollars each in donations from various big banks in order to give them the TARP bailouts from a long time ago, he also posted a master list of Clinton Foundation donors in the western United States, tracking contributions from 2009 to 2015, including people with names like J.J. Abrams. You've probably heard of him. Big movie director, directed Star Wars. Gore Verbinski, Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff, Google CEO Eric Schmidt, the Walt Disney Company president and CEO.
Benioff, by the way, I believe.
Robert. Oh, okay. Yep, you're right. Benioff. Robert Iger, the CEO of Walt Disney Company. Bill Gates, founder of Microsoft. Microsoft VP Steve Ballmer. And then Hollywood stars like Barbra Streisand, James Brolin, and Tom Hanks.
Babura, babura.
And, of course, the hacker previously released documents purloined from the DNC and the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee. The Democrats have blamed the hacks on Russia, but Guccifer 2.0 denied having any ties with the Russian government or Russia, although he does admit of being of Eastern European extraction. So there's the latest information from him. He's got details up on his website, which is Guccifer 2, the number 2.wordpress.com. So let's change gears. Johnson, you've got a story that you thought was interesting you wanted to share with us.
This legal drug could protect the brain from aging.
Okay.
So it says here, could cigarettes contain the latest clue to an anti-aging drug?
I don't know, man. It doesn't look like people who smoke a lot of cigarettes are staying young.
Well, I hope you're right. I really do.
Nicotine could help protect the brain from Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease, new research finds.
I've heard this before.
The substance, which given independently from tobacco, could help protect the aging brain. The neuroprotective effect of nicotine could be down to its well-known quality of reducing appetite. For the study, the researchers gave varying levels of nicotine to mice in their drinking water. There was no evidence, though, that it caused anxiety, which the researchers were concerned would be the case. Dr. Ursula Windsor-Sirhan, who led the research, said, "Some people say that nicotine decreases anxiety, which is why people smoke, but others say it increases anxiety."
Yeah, I mean, look at somebody who's having a Nick fit or whatever, they're jonesing for their nicotine. I mean, they definitely seem anxious in advance of receiving their dose.
I don't know if that's anxiety as much as that's the different thing from actual anxiety.
I think things that may decrease anxiety, if you don't get them, you'll have that much more. So, like, if you're taking Xanax and your prescription runs out, you're gonna have way more anxiety than you had to begin with.
Well, that's sort of like alcohol, which is an antidepressant until you stop taking it. Until you stop drinking. Alcohol has the effects of a rapid antidepressant, but when you're not drinking, it lets people experience much more depression.
So wait. So what they're saying is not that smoking is necessarily going to reduce your aging, but that nicotine could have some sort of anti-aging properties.
Exactly.
So maybe if delivered in a way that does not actually damage your lungs, it might be helpful.
So maybe.
This is an article for the vapors out there.
The last thing you would want in a drug that is given chronically would be a negative change in behavior. Luckily, we didn't find any evidence of anxiety. The only two measures showed any effect. Even with high levels of nicotine, if anything, nicotine made animal models less anxious. The mice, given the highest levels of nicotine, ate the least and gained the least weight. So I don't even know if they're talking about necessarily nicotine, but caloric reduction.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Windsor-Sirhan cautioned, "I want to make it very clear that we're not encouraging people to smoke. Even if these weren't very preliminary results, smoking results in so many health problems that any possible benefit of nicotine would be more than canceled out. However, smoking is only one possible route of administration of the drug, and our work shows that we shouldn't write off nicotine completely. The next step for the research is to test whether nicotine has an anti-aging effect. Dr. Windsor Sirhan said, although the results are intriguing, we would need large-scale clinical trials before suggesting anyone change their behavior. At the end of the day, we haven't proven that this addictive drug is safe, and it certainly isn't during childhood or adolescence, or that the benefits outweigh the potential risks.
Well, right. I mean, you can easily overdose on nicotine with that fluid that they have for the vape pens or whatever. They say if you get that on your skin, it's fairly dangerous.
Oh, interesting.
You're supposed to. That's why they, like the refillable things. It's actually kind of a high risk thing to actually refill your nicotine solution, as I understand it. That's what I've been told.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you don't want to get it on your skin.
Really, didn't know that.
It's so high concentration, and of course your skin is absorbed.
I guess it depends. Well, the fluids have different levels of concentration to
them.
They do.
Too, so. That's correct.
I feel like I've got enough tolerance that I give it a shot.
You can just throw it right on your skin.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it.
So the suggestion is that nicotine may possibly affect aging through
very debatable. I mean, may
encouraging people to eat
have
less,
protective effects, and it cause people to eat less. So maybe the caloric restriction helps prevent Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. I don't know.
It seems
it's just
like
sort of an interesting preliminary study. It's just something that they're throwing out there, which is kind of interesting. They're studying it.
It seems like it's sort of got like a cognition enhancing sort of effect on people.
Does it though? I mean, look,
it's been argued, and I would probably argue that too.
Is there any testing on
that? She's written about it in some of her books.
I mean, I've smoked tobacco before, and I definitely get a little head rush or a little buzz off of it, but I don't feel like that lasts particularly long, and I don't know if that's increasing cognition. It's just getting high for for a few seconds.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is that it's a very, very short-lasting drug.
Yeah.
So I mean. There may or may not be something to this, but you'd have to find a way to gently administer it to you throughout the day at a small dose.
They have that. I think it's called the patch. Right.
Yeah.
So they'll have to study people on the patch.
Let's see if people on the patch live
really
longer.
What it's going to come down to is they're going to find that it has more to do with caloric restriction and anti-aging benefits. Because I mean, already,
if you don't eat as much, you live longer.
If you look at the Methuselah Foundation, which we've had Aubrey de Grey from the Methuselah Foundation a long time ago on the show.
Yep.
But I mean, he's still basically talking about the same things,
right?
In terms of living longer and trying to live long enough to have science outpace the curve of human aging and
going back to the singularity
back the clock.
Or augmenting with machinery.
Human life is constantly expanding. The lifespan is constantly getting to be a larger number, and can you survive to the point of where that starts expanding so fast that you can live for thousands of years?
Where you add on a couple years, and then you add on 5 years, and then you add on 10 years. Can you get ahead of that?
One of the ways that
I really don't want to.
Yeah, one of the ways that most all scientists say common to that is caloric, especially as you get older, extreme caloric restriction. Just, develop yourself some anorexia, because
that is not healthy.
It actually, when you're older, it absolutely
when
is.
You're older.
Yeah, when you're older, you don't need as many calories to survive.
Is that right?
So you can definitely be like a skinny, small, old person, and that's going to help you live longer.
Is that because your metabolism slows down?
Yes.
That's the idea there?
Dramatically, yeah. And I guess you just not having all the extra calories just has a whole host of health benefits.
But Cody, you're saying, screw it, you're ready to die.
I don't want to live forever.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something else going on after this life. I have no idea. I will get bored of this. So, okay, I will get bored, and what is the end game?
Would you say that it's now or never?
I'm gonna learn everything. I'm gonna get rich. I'm gonna rule the world. Or not. I don't know.
Would you say that you're halfway there?
Halfway?
Yeah.
I'd say I'm a quarter of the way there.
Towards death, you mean?
Hopefully.
Whoa, I'm halfway there.
All right, that's it for tonight. But you can join Cody for more of his show. He does his own show called Off the Air Live. You can get at that over at offtheairlive.com. Is the show up from this weekend?
Yep.
Excellent. And then we'll see you tomorrow night online in the meantime. freetalklive.com. We might have Mark back tomorrow night. I don't know. We'll find out. See you then.
Foodforliberty.com sells high-quality, storable foods from Numana. And right now, take advantage of our summer special. Purchase 2 family packs and we'll send you a Pro Pure Water Pitcher, a $70 value, free. This premium pitcher is ideal for use with just about any water source and removes more contaminants than other brands. And it comes with a filter that lasts up to 2 full years. Whether you need to be prepared in the event of an emergency, you're an outdoor sports enthusiast, Numana is known for high-quality, great-tasting, GMO-free, super nutritious food with no chemical preservatives. And with a 25-year shelf life, you can't beat the feeling of being food secure when you need it most. Go to foodforliberty.com right now for great-tasting, high-quality, storable foods from Numana. Buy 2 family packs and get the Pro Pure Water Pitcher free. It makes good sense to be prepared. Get it at foodforliberty.com.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org. For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on-demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long-distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu. 641-793-9660.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Foodforliberty.com sells high-quality, storable foods from Numana. And right now, take advantage of our summer special. Purchase 2 family packs and we'll send you a Pro Pure Water Pitcher, a $70 value, free. This premium pitcher is ideal for use with just about any water source and removes more contaminants than other brands. And it comes with a filter that lasts up to 2 full years. Whether you need to be prepared in the event of an emergency, you're an outdoor sports enthusiast, Numana is known for high-quality, great-tasting, GMO-free, super nutritious food with no chemical preservatives. And with a 25-year shelf life, you can't beat the feeling of being food secure when you need it most. Go to foodforliberty.com right now for great-tasting, high-quality, storable foods from Numana. Buy 2 family packs and get the Pro Pure Water Pitcher free. It makes good sense to be prepared. Get it at foodforliberty.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at LRN.FM. The latest edition of The Justin Moore Show is next on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. Get more at justinmooreshow.com.
Defending the free market and making the moral case for capitalism. The Justin Moore Show. Hey everybody, welcome to the Justin Moore Show, where we make sense of what's going on in this crazy, insane, out of control world.
And boy, do we have a show for you guys today talking about the first presidential debate between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Yeah, that just took place last week. And, you know, usually when I do debate shows, you know, like throughout the Republican primary and Democrat primary, well, I guess I only talked about one of the Democrat primary debates, but usually I play a bunch of clips. And you know what? With this one, I'm not going to do that. You know, just watching it is kind of a lot of the same sort of stuff. You know, Donald Trump repeats himself all the time. You know, it wasn't really anything that memorable from this debate. And I think I just want to do it a little bit differently. I'm just going to